This is TNT Sports' Adam Summerton, and you're listening to Three Fish on the Shirt.
This is John Sander. You're listening to Three Fish on the Shirt.
We only sing when we're fishing. You know, it's just fish, 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 fish. But fishing Grimsby is good.
Please welcome Thomas Turgoose.
Hello, welcome to this week's Three Fish on the Shirt. Not the best of news this week. I'm joined this week by Steve Risley once again. Welcome, Steve.
Hello, Dave. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Fairly reflective after this week's defeat, second defeat of the week to Salford. We haven't covered the Notts County game either, so we've got quite a few bits to get through this week. So we've had that and the fans forum, and we've got our very special guest this week with Thomas Turgoose coming to join us.
That's a big name there, mate.
Big name for the pod. That's what we like to see. Thomas will be joining us in a little while, so we'll look forward to that. But first things first, Steve. Big game in the week. Notts County at home. I hope we're going to kick on from our 8 unbeaten run, 5 wins and 3 draws. Fantastic win at Walsall, and it went a bit flat. Had a good first half, and then capitulated a little bit in the second half. You were there, I wasn't. What was your take on the game?
It was, say, after the Lord Mayor show, if you like, the Walsall game, which was the best performance of the season.
Yeah.
And sort of thinking, right, we're going to go into this game full of confidence, and it was just. Well, Notts County played well. They're the better team. Give it to them, but we just huffed and puffed the whole game, but at least Gazzatori made his debut, and I thought he did very, very well for his first ever professional game. But overall, we didn't really get near them, and but they've got a bigger team, a bigger budget than us, so we just nothing we could do on the night. And Jatta scored. And McGoldrick right at the end. So disappointing, but I've seen it a few times at home now, haven't we?
Yeah, I think for me, Town, watching it on I managed to grab hold of a feed while I was away last week, and we looked good in the first half. I thought we all but being sharper up front, we could have been in front. And I think we showed what you'd want to see from a Town side. I think I was surprised to see Gezo in the starting lineup, but the fact that he started was a positive in many ways, especially after how he played. But after he came out of the second half, there was really only one team looking like they were gonna win it. I mean, the first goal was a bit scruffy, wasn't it? You'd be wanting us to be getting head on that somewhere. And I think we've had a lot of problems with allowing stuff like that into the box, haven't we? I suppose was it a corner? If it was a corner, it's a bit easier to forgive. But
Yeah, I think it was a call. Yeah, we played fairly well, but we never looked like we were going to win the game. If you know what I mean. It was just a typical, teams come to Bundle Park and they seem to just want it. I don't know, just seem to work harder than we do sometimes. I don't. It's hard to judge it, but they just seem to have better players than us and faster and second ball to get to quicker. And
yeah,
I don't know, it's just frustrating.
yeah.
All the last few home games have been like it.
Yeah, I don't know what is it stage fright? Is it they feel the pressure? Is it the pitch? The pitch, we'll talk about the pitch a little bit later on from the
Mm,
stuff that came out of the fans forum. But for me now, that's kind of a non-issue. It is what it is. It's the same for both teams. So if you can't control the ball and play football on it, then you can't control the ball and play football on it. It's the
yeah,
same for both. So it didn't seem to trouble McGoldrick. It didn't seem to trouble Jatta when they're sticking the ball in the net. It's about creating those opportunities, and I think that's where we struggled a bit second half, particularly in the Notts game. And again, we've not had the striking options of late either, with a big crew being out.
Engine, yeah.
But we've had good games with him not playing as well. So
Well, that's
it's
it. He did play at Walsall, didn't he? So
exactly. And the way Luca played and the way Svan Dawson played at Walsall, and Hume and the likes, we had them on the rack, and they were crapping themselves most of the time when we were getting forward, weren't they?
yeah, and that because Notts County, I know that they've been losing games. The fans aren't happy with them, the
Yeah,
form. So it
yeah,
was all set up for you know a win or a good game, but
yeah,
we just fell flat, and
yeah,
we seemed to lose the ball quite a bit on the edge of our when we were attacking. We'll lose the ball, and then the team like they did break away, like from McGoldrick to score the
yeah,
last minute.
yeah. We
We,
do seem to be susceptible to that. There's been a couple of Crew did it to us, didn't they?
yeah,
Fleetwood, that goal against Fleetwood was a bit like that as well, but it was
mm.
left hand side as opposed to right hand side, that one.
The
But
Walsall game, their first goal was a breakaway goal.
it was Corey
Um,
lost the
lost-
dallied on the
yeah,
ball a little bit too long, didn't he? And yeah, so we're susceptible to that, but in direct contrast to the Saturday game,
mm,
we didn't trouble Notts like we had Walsall. Walsall were panicking when we were having a go at them the other day.
yeah. Like you said, we did okay first half, then second half we just same second half performance again. But
Mm.
it's disappointing. But we didn't expect to beat Walsall, did we?
No,
In a
so
way.
you kind of got 3 bonus points in the bag there,
Mm.
and if it had been the other way round, we'd lost at Walsall and beaten Notts County. Nobody, I guess, would have been saying, "Oh, that was unexpected." That would
No,
have been
no.
the order. Yeah, so disappointing. Decent enough crowd. Down a little bit on what you'd expect for a Notts County Grimsby game, which is the shame of it being
Mm.
postponed in the first place. 'Cause that would have been a cracking Saturday afternoon game, wouldn't it? And
Yeah.
maybe if we'd have played on the frozen pitch, the surface would have stayed together.
Well,
That might have been the answer.
yeah, we might
But
have played better football.
play on it,
But
played
yeah,
it
there
frozen.
was. Thought there might have been more there, crowd wise. It looked like it was 7,000,
Yeah,
and when he announced the attendance, 6 was like, oh, that's everybody's like, there's more here than that.
yeah.
But,
So and it was decent atmosphere, reasonably decent atmosphere, because we've all spoke about the atmosphere at Brundle Park being a bit flat at times.
it was better.
Unless there's something to get them going,
Yeah.
get us going, should I say?
Mighty Mariner was up in the Finders stand, trying to get the crowd going. I got a good picture of that.
In fairness,
But he was up.
the upper's been better this year than I've known it. They've started bits off and what have you.
Mm,
So anyway,
yeah.
we parked Notts County and said we were beaten by the better side on the night. Move on to Saturday. We can we've got another opportunity to turn things around and keep that pressure on the playoff spot. And after the match on Tuesday night, there was some unsavoury scenes when there was one or two in the main stand having a go at David Artell, which I have to say I find absolutely ridiculous.
I do absolutely. It's only like 3 or 4, I think, fans in it, but
yeah.
he's not happy about. I mean, he shouldn't take abuse like that. It sounds like he'd say they don't care.
Yeah,
Things like that.
I think for me the premise that these managers aren't asked that we've lost is nonsense. I mean, the reputation relies on it. I mean, we've all felt it. I mean, we'll lose our shit at times, don't we? About football when as Kieran Maguire when he was on in our episode number 8 said it's the most important of the unimportant things, and it's true. But we still put massively more importance on it than we probably should as human beings. But that said, we do, and you know how mardy I get walking out of Lundell Park seeing away teams support and supporters celebrating a win, and that is what it is. It's because we care about it. It's because we're invested to such an extent in the club, in the team, that when it doesn't go right, we get madder than we should do. And I guess some of those people are probably the same. However, I hope they do reflect on their behaviour and how they let it out, and remember these people are actually people.
That's right. Yeah, like David Artell, his interview, what he said afterwards, response, he was spot on. You don't go to work to get abused like that.
No.
If somebody if he went to wherever they work, if they work,
on a day when it's not really gone that well, and
say,
you
don't care, you're useless.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's out of order. I wouldn't even dare. You voice your opinions, but you going to abuse somebody, actually shouting, say in somebody's face, you don't care.
Well,
It's ridiculous.
we'll talk about the fans forum in a bit, but I did manage to get in at the end of my question comment about our flexibility of our 3-5-2, 5-3-2, whatever you want to call it, 4-3-3 with a diamond, whatever you want to call it. And I said, regardless of what anybody else thinks, there's a lot of people behind you, and don't worry about idiots like that. And it was well appreciated by David himself and the forum.
That's good. It's right. There's everybody's. Those people. They don't. Why did you go down there to do that? Abuse. We're all disappointed, but
exactly.
You just don't go shouting abuse at players, at the manager or anybody.
Exactly. And that's.
And they're not. But it sounds like they're not young kids or anything. I think they're mature adults.
You can understand the younger ones who had been success starved, as we were talking about earlier. But and that kind of puts a bit of an underlinement on the Notts County game. And like I said, we sort of came away from it saying, let's go again. And on to yesterday. So I turned up yesterday. I had a reasonably positive outlook on yesterday. It was a nice day. It was clear. It was pretty cool. But I had a good feeling about it, which I had the week before against Walsall. But it really didn't ever get going for me yesterday.
No, they came out of the blocks like you said. David Artell knew they were going to said on Friday night they're going to come close it down, work hard, and they did. They worked the socks off.
Yeah.
And again, another team that did it to us, and we couldn't get near the ball. We struggled. We struggled to get the ball. 50-50s. That number 10 terrorised us down that our right side. Namay was it?
Namai, yeah.
Namai. He was outstanding. All game. And we thought we're going to run out of steam. They'll run out of steam just pressing, but they didn't really.
Their press was really high. I mean, it was more noticeable with us being in the pontoon. I thought it was more noticeable in the second half that when we were trying to come forward, we had corners. We had everybody back in the box, and there was really no route out for us. And with a bouncing ball on that pitch, you're knackered because it seems to bounce at head height, however high it comes from, doesn't it?
Yeah. Whatever. We never seem to win any of the bouncy balls, did we? You know what I mean,
Yeah,
they was always there,
yeah,
getting their foot on it.
yeah. And even when there's a challenge and the ball comes loose, there was always a Salford man there, and the bit right in the centre circle, where you'd expect your sort of engine room to be. There was no one there
Yeah.
when the ball come loose in that space. There was no one there. It was a very strange game again, and
Just,
even your Hume and Van Thorsen down one side was a real struggle in the first half. They switched Van Thorsen over to the other side and brought Luca across later on, didn't they? But
yeah,
it was just a real hard work. We made it really hard work for ourselves by allowing Salford to keep us pushed back.
yeah. Van
And
Thorsen was struggling sort of on the right, and that Name, and so they switched. It was about 10 minutes to go in this first half, and he went over on the left side and sort of to try something, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
But didn't work. And then say no shots on target at home.
Yeah, yeah. I mean
Which
that I mean, you want, as a home fan, you want a few bums off the seat moments, don't you? Where you're up out your seat with excitement, and they were very, very few and far between. We had one or two bits of interest, but not a lot else. There was Luca Barrington got into the box, didn't he, at one point, and
Yeah.
could have probably done better by laying the ball off to someone else. Churi looked assured when he came on again, didn't he, Gazer?
He did, yeah. He looked really good. That lovely run through the middle.
Yeah, and
You noticed
he kind of rolled his foot over the top of the ball in a kind of I've got full control of this thing, and I'll do what I want with it. And am I going to pass it? Am I not? And it was just looked promising. There's more to come from him, obviously, and I think once he gets his place, he's going to be hard to shift. But he's going off to the internationals now, which is another thing that we can't get enough internationals in the squad to get a game called off. Unlike, I think, is it Doncaster next week who've got their game off because of the international break?
I was looking at that. Yeah, Doncaster's got their game postponed, haven't they? They must have. Was it Doncaster? Just going off. Days it next week. Saturday, the Doncaster against Salford, didn't it?
Yeah.
Unless Salford have got some players as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one it is. But yeah, I know it's that, and we won't drop into that category, which does seem a bit of a shame. But hopefully, it'll put pressure on Doncaster at the end of the season to have too many games in too short a spell, and we'll overtake them into third place. Anyway,
well, we're still 2 defeats at home. We're still in there. It's with other results.
We can turn it around again. We went from bits and bobs of wins and draws and defeats to 8 wins without 8 games without losing. Sorry. So we're 2 defeats in 9. You'd take that 10 games ago, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, 2 defeats in 10. If you said we were going to win 5, draw 3, and lost 2, you'd have said that's not half bad form. That.
So what we've got 9 games left. We need to go and do the same again if we can.
Yeah, if we do the same again, we'll be there or thereabouts, won't we? And that's the challenge. So yesterday I think you've got to draw a line under that. I thought we looked tired. I couldn't disagree with Artell's after match yesterday. He was honest. Said we looked mentally tired, physically tired. I think there may be a few playing with knocks because of the other injuries. I wonder if that's what was partially the issue with Van Thorsen. But
maybe because he went off on Tuesday night.
I have to say though, credit to Salford yesterday. They put the effort in to get the result.
I was quite impressed with them.
Yeah, and I think in fairness to them, if there was a team that was going to win that game, it wasn't Town.
Yeah. We were saying during the game, I'll take a draw now.
Yeah, a 0-0 draw would have probably been the best we deserved, and that's a shame from a Town fan point of view, isn't it? But it was, being honest and objective about it, it wasn't the best, and
we didn't deserve anything out of the game. That's what I was saying when I left.
Yeah.
A draw would have been harsh on them for the effort that they put in
So
and the skill level as well.
So as you say, 9 games to go. We're not out of it. The table says that we're still in it. So what's your take on the run in, Steve? What's your thoughts?
Well, we've got 3 home. We've got 4 home games, 5 away.
Yeah.
It's hard to look on paper. Colchester away's coming up. That's going to be
But they're
it's gonna be a tough
they're
game.
due a wobble. They can't keep going.
Yeah,
They've had 5 wins on the trot, and it's taken them into 7th.
yeah, and I've got Crew away. That's going to be a
6-pointer.
Yeah,
That's crucial. That game. The crucial thing about that is not to lose, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's a Tuesday night. And then we've got Morecambe at home, Harrogate away, Swindon. It's going to be tough. Port Vale away, MK Dons away. So it's some tough games, and then Wimbledon at home.
I think just looking at the run in, Doncaster have got a lot of the top teams to play. You've got them playing Crewe yesterday. They've got to play Walsall, Wimbledon, Colchester, Bradford, and Notts County. So there's a potential for quite a lot of points to be lost in that top 6 system, isn't there?
There is, because we've noticed, like, last few weeks, there's been very few top games between top 2 teams.
Yeah, so they've got to come
but
somewhere,
I
haven't they?
think they're all coming in the next month.
Walsall are playing Wimbledon, Donny, Port Vale, and Crewe in the last 9 games. Notts have got to play Crewe in the next game, Colchester, Bradford, and Doncaster. Wimbledon have got to play Walsall, Doncaster, Port Vale, and us.
Yeah.
Port Vale have got to play Crewe, Bradford, Walsall, us, Wimbledon. So they've got quite a few. So there's a lot of points in that top 6 system to be dropped.
Yes.
For us, arguably draws mean there are 4 points taken out of the system.
Yesterday, Crewe Doncaster.
Yeah.
Draw.
I mean, there was a few people in the fan zone earlier on saying that, it's better if Donny win because Crewe are just above us. And I'm saying, well, no, because it's better if they both lose 2 points because that's 4 points out of the whole ecosystem, if you like. So it proved, and I think that was better for us because it's all right saying we won't lose, we won't catch Donny, but why not? They've got so many tough games.
Yeah, and then like Notts County lost at home to Chesterfield, so that's probably the best result for us.
And if there's one thing about League 2 this year that's not in dispute, is that anybody can beat anybody on the day, apart from Carlisle. Do a shit. There you go. And they came in some fire from David Artell at the fans forum when we were talking about money.
Right.
And
Carlisle,
he was saying that they're spending telephone numbers, but unless you've got an aligned culture, like everything fits together and everything works right through the organisation, then you're not going to do any good. And he said, got a dinosaur, a manager like Steve Cotterill. He doesn't like Steve Cotterill for some reason. And he says, Forest Green got some great players, spent a lot of money, went down. Carlisle got some good players, spent a lot of money, look like they're going down.
Says, well, I've got a stat here. If you
right.
On the highlights program, it said that Carlisle signed 12 players in January, and since then, only 2 of those 12 have played.
All right.
It said it on the commentary. So
I did see a comment this morning from somebody saying Mark Hughes is going to take us down. He's just as bad as the last lot. He's making the same mistakes. But they're in deep trouble. They're like 27 points, and Tranmere winning yesterday at Bradford, which is an absolutely incredible result, isn't it? 10 wins on the trot at home, Bradford, and then they go and lose to Tranmere, who haven't lost since they played us, by the way. Andy Crosby's doing a great job there, and now 9 points clear of Carlisle in the last safe spot of the league.
Well, when they came and played us, Tranmere, his first game, was it?
Yeah,
Andy Crosby, and they were good. They were like similar to Salford yesterday. I thought
they got stuck in, didn't they? And in fact, their best electric player was probably their worst player on the night. Thankfully, Patrick, wasn't he?
Patrick, he didn't do nothing at all.
But there's a humorous thing yesterday, and again, I watched Tranmere probably more closely than others because of the link to my mate over in the Wirral.
Right.
But there was a clip of them winning the penalty yesterday, and the player who got taken down, he sat on the floor. He sat up he's on his backside, but he sits up and he sits there with his arms and legs and does that because he's got the penalty.
I saw that.
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, he's sat on his ass, isn't he? He's giving it some.
It'd be so annoying that one if you're a Bradford fan seeing that reaction. We've got a penalty.
I've got a penalty. There's never a penalty. From what I saw.
It looked a bit iffy, but Sodom, they got a naff penalty against us, Bradford, so I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, but they've got all them players, Carlisle. I don't know what contracts are on.
Yeah,
but
be an interesting season next season in the non-league, wouldn't it? Because it's hard to see them. What they got 10 games left on. They've got 10 games left.
Yeah,
30 points available. They've only got 27 out of the God knows how many points that were the 100 and odd points that were available now. So it's hard to see where those points are going to come from, isn't it?
They're gone, I think.
Yeah, Morecambe are 6 points behind, so that's a tough ask as well.
Yeah, and Tranmere should be all right.
Tranmere have done themselves a lot of favours in the last 4 or 5 games. They drew against us. I think they beat somebody 2-1, didn't they? Last week. Was it Fleetwood they beat? Oh no, that was 0-0 the week before. Anyway, I forget who they beat someone last week 2-1. They didn't play in midweek and then they won today. So they've put quite a few points on the board in the last few games, haven't they?
They have, and they look good against us. So I think Morecambe were 2-0 up, weren't they, yesterday?
Yeah.
Against Barrow. So that's a bit disappointing for them.
Yeah. And you can't see any of the others getting dragged into it. Harrogate 10 points clear of safety.
I can't see
Accrington. Gillingham are a bit of a surprise package. Being down there after they're another money bagged team from previous years, aren't they? They're 12 points from safety. They're MK Dons, and then you're into Barrow 14 points from safety, and then you get up to 9th, and you've got us as 26 points from safety.
Yeah,
from danger. Sorry, from points from danger.
With a minus goal difference.
Will we ever get to a positive?
We got to 0.
We thought we were going to do it. We got to 0 last week, wasn't it?
Could we be the first team ever to get in the playoffs with a negative goal difference?
Promoted with a negative goal difference.
Get promoted, yeah.
Hilarious, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Excellent. So I think that about puts to bed a bad week of home games. Nothing too inspiring. A disappointment all around, not least with the players and what have you, because I genuinely do think they're trying. I think they're a good bunch. I think they work hard. And maybe they have just sort of run out of steam a little bit after the Lord Mayor's show, as you say.
Yeah, we are thin on the ground now. I mean, looking at the bench yesterday, we had no defenders.
Yeah, and David Artell said at the fans forum, the opportunity to freshen players up. He said he was the best player yesterday, Terrell Warren. Why? Because he didn't play as much as the other guys.
Yeah. He got man of the match, didn't he?
Yeah, he was good. It's not rocket science, and he did look good, and he looked the most energetic. So hopefully, with a week off of midweek games, we can kick on and be better next week.
Yeah, we've got Newport big game Saturday.
Yeah,
we're all big.
Yeah, we're all big. So back to the sort of club stuff this week. Then fans forum on Friday night. So there was David Artell, Polly, Andrew Pettit, and Jason Stockwood, all fronting up to the fans who gathered in the Trust Bar on Friday night, and they talked through pretty much anything anybody wanted to talk about, really. And one of the remarkable things was that the toilets didn't feature once at all this time, which is normally a feature of fans forums. Either toilets in general gets picked up, or the ladies' toilets gets picked up. But no, there was no mention of toilets. So something
given up.
Everything given up, or something must be happening.
Pull the plug on that one.
That's yeah. Yeah, they flushed it out. Yeah.
What a nice picture of a toilet.
Yeah, that was after last week's game, wasn't
Yeah, that's like
it?
that was not County's game.
So picking up on the state of the club, obviously finances have been in the negative for last year. Lost 1.6 million last year, which essentially is funded by Jason and Andrew. They brought some extra investment in from outside the club, 20% of which is American. So they're looking to, always looking for more investment, which is good. But their overall aim is to make sure that the club is sustainable, as always, they've said. And I think you have to look back to the previous regime to understand why there's so much needs doing at the club nowadays. And one of the things I picked up on that there is a good chunk of more steel work needs doing in the main stand and the Osman corner
Okay.
for the ground to be allowed open, to be kept open. So that's the SAG, the Safety at Sports Grounds Action Group, are insisting that work's done for the ground to keep its certificate. And next season, in the pontoon and the upper, there's another 300 grand's worth of steel work needs to be done to keep the safety certificate. So you look at that and you think, wow, that's that's indicative of previous neglect. You have to say, and
absolutely,
and I still think BP looks as good as it's looked for a long time.
Yeah, but it just shows you that you got to keep on top of everything, haven't you?
Yeah,
you can't
and
just let it.
And these guys are having to wear a lot of the previous regime's neglect.
Mm.
I mean, Hurst used to moan about in that period they didn't even have round footballs in training, which is you'd think would be the standard requisite for footballs for training, wouldn't you? That they're the right shape.
Well, you look back to when Hurst was it? Just going back, there was only there was him, Hurst, Dave Moore, and that was it. Like on the bench, from the staff, and then now it's a different ball game.
Pearson, Davis, Steve Crowdson.
You've got the fitness coach and
Greg Howard.
But it's progression, isn't it? You've got to, you've got to spend money on the ground.
Yeah.
And you've got to do that every year to a certain extent.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't just not spend anything for 5 years and hope for the best, because it's just not.
And that brings us on to the state of the pitch. We've talked about it earlier on. It doesn't look that bad at times in terms of the surface, but it's not that's the problem. It's the substructure that's just breaking up when games are going on. They've had a consultant in to look at it, and a total reconstruction and a new pitch to a current standard, a Deso pitch, something like that, a hybrid pitch, 800k to $1 million.
I was going to say $1 million. I would have thought.
Excuse me. They've had some improvement options put forward for 50k, for the same as last year, and a maintenance program better than last year, which is probably going to be the favoured option. And one of the reasons for that is that they're waiting for the football regulator to help more money flow down the leagues, and they're hoping by the time that happens, and our owners are keen for any extra money that comes down from the Premier League to be spent on infrastructure and not just pile into players' wages. So that's the sort of gamble that they're playing at the moment with the pitch, is that if they can get the maintenance right this summer and get it stabilised, they can not have 2 bad seasons. That's one of the things Jason said. We can't have 2 seasons like that. That he does think there's some anomaly that says that it's not been a good year for whatever reason. Was it too wet coming out the summer? Was it is there some sort of humidity issue, or but something's clearly not right.
Yeah, well, we did have a lot of rain last winter.
Yeah.
Not this winter before. So coming out in 24, it was everywhere was just sodden.
Yeah,
and
my theory is that coming out of the summer. If you remember the season before when we had the pitch done, it was like a carpet. We'd had the season before that. There was the patches in the Osmond end. Can you remember them? They'd actually dug bits up and put new bits of turf down to deal with the penalty area issues. The following season, they did some really good maintenance over the summer, and it was brilliant coming back. And I remember going to a non-league, a friendly against Lincoln, and it was quite warm night, and it was hot, and the pitch was nice and dry before the season started. This year, I'm not sure that was true. I think it was damp at the end of the summer, and so it never had that kind of knitting together phase of its growth.
Yeah,
I don't know how much of that is just my imagination or bullshit, but you can imagine that's the bit that's needed in it. It's that surface knitting together, the root system taking hold, and I just wonder if it's that. Anyway, it is what it is. As I say, David Artell was asked, do the players moan about the pitch? The one-word answer was yes, but that's it. He's not prepared to sort of go on and moan because it's certainly not through a lack of effort, and I think that's the real shame for the guys that look after it because they're working their knackers off to try and keep it in decent shape. And
I know because
it's not the only pitch that suffered this season either.
Oh, Colchester's pitch.
Walsall's looked pretty crap as well, didn't it? Last
week. Wimbledon had a golf course.
Theirs came up, but theirs is a half decent pitch because it's a new ground. So, but apparently with Town's ground, dig down 2 feet and it's like brick rubble and stuff underneath. It's old, and then under that you've got pretty much clay, haven't you? So,
I think looking at it, you think they're going to have to do something like new pitch.
And as Jason said, if you think we're not seeing it and we're not doing anything, you're miles off. We're as frustrated about it as anyone. But it's either £1 million or some maintenance.
You're frozen.
I'm still here.
Yeah,
am I back?
See you now.
Yeah. Jason's frustrated.
Well, it's funny because I just said
when
David Artell first mentioned when he first moaned, not moaned, but he first said about the pitch not helping. I didn't know, didn't really realise because it looked okay, didn't it? Early, about 4 months ago.
Yeah. But it's got worse, hasn't it?
But it is, but it's somebody's job to look after it, and if he is constantly moaning about it, it's not good, is it? So he tries to avoid,
And it's a living, breathing thing. It's not. It's not something that you can just say, "All right, we'll tear that up and start again." You've got to keep working on it as it is, And there's only one time to do the work, and that's the big work, and that's the summer.
Yeah.
So that's the pitch. I think the less said about it, the better from now on. Andrew talked about the budget's been in League Two on players going up by about 35% over the last 3 years. So there's pressure on the finances from that score. But again, we mentioned before about the lack of an aligned culture doesn't means you're not going to be as strong as a club, and that's one of the things that they've put in place, that they've got that culture that runs through the trust for everybody to do their job, running right through the organisation, and it doesn't matter much how much you spend. Then we're kind of overperforming really for the level of spend we're putting in, and that was the areas where Steve Cottrell and Forest Green and Carlisle this year were cited against. That not work, just throwing money at it, not working.
I'm so pleased we are doing what we're doing at the club.
Yeah.
And you look at other clubs, what they're doing, and it's just, I'd be embarrassed, like Carlisle signing all them players, and we were down there last year, and we didn't panic. We didn't start bringing in. He brought in Curtis Thompson, didn't he? Doug Tarm.
Yeah, and they did a great job, didn't they, to steady us.
And that's what he did, just quality players, and didn't panic, and said, we will not get relegated, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then
again, I have a real strong opinion on that. You ask him that question, he says, "No, I think we'll go down." He gets slated. If he says, "I think we'll stay up," he gets "Oh, you said we're going to how you guaranteeing we're going to stay up here?" You can't win that question. It's a really unfair question. And what do you want to say? Oh, I don't know. Don't know if we'll stay up.
It's like the question, he got asked last week about, is it too early to go up? Are we ready?
Mm.
And he answered it back with a question, didn't he,
Mm.
to Matt Dean? Said,
Mm.
why not? We won't know till we get there.
Well,
So let's try.
the other thing that was mentioned actually the other night, are we ready for League One? All the player recruitment plans are being done in two scenarios: one where we're in League One and one where we're in League Two, which is nice and positive.
Definitely.
One of the things that is asked is the club ready to go up? Is because it's bigger price infrastructure and all the rest of it. And Jason's absolutely, he said, it costs probably do go up, but it makes us more attractive and more investable as a League One club. We're much more able to attract interest. So yeah, you don't choose when you can go up. You go up when you go up, and
Absolutely, yeah.
and you
I've always said
deal
that.
with it at the time. So
When
yeah,
people say, "Oh, we'll struggle if we go up," how do you know?
yeah,
Look at the teams that have gone up. I know they've got bigger budgets than us.
yeah,
Wrexham and Stockport,
yeah.
Mansfield are struggling a little bit, but
But
they've all done all right.
for every one of them, there's a Carlisle that went up, came back down
Yeah.
again, and are now bottom. But they haven't got the firm structure that we've got about the club. There's a stability of feel now, isn't there?
Oh, I've never felt so
Mm,
confident with
mm,
in the structure of the club
yeah,
from what you read, and it sounds easy, doesn't it? We're all aligned in one focus, but
yeah.
it sounds simple, but there's a lot of clubs that are not like that.
No,
It sounds like
and one of the things Jason was saying is progressive leadership that drives that sort of organisation in football isn't necessarily that common. There's
yeah,
not lots of people wanting to try and do it all the time. So that's an interesting in area. Interestingly, the other thing about the progression of the club is summer transfer window plans are well underway. Does David Artell expect a big turnover of players? Not so much as last year, which he described was more revolution than evolution. But he said this year we're coming to the end of a cycle, which I interpreted as your Pikes, your Wilsons, and people like that going out, which
mm,
frees up spaces. And he said one of the key attributes we've been looking for in a player, um, as well as our other criteria, which one of the first ones is not an idiot, which was good. He said we don't sign idiots, which is it's got to be the right sort of person as well as anything else.
yeah,
Is one of the key metrics they're going to be looking at is availability. He says we've not fared well on availability. We've had too many people not available. He says there's good reasons for some of that. Looking at injuries and stuff we talked about earlier.
injuries, yeah,
And whilst we do better than most teams in terms of numbers of injuries, the ones we've had have been more serious. So he needs players who are good quality but more available, and would be equally as comfortable in League Two or League One. So he said there's no such thing as not being ready. We've got to be ready for all scenarios. So I thought that was quite encouraging.
It sounds something really encouraging. That there's all planning ahead, isn't it? All thinking of what if we're in League One, League Two. Obviously, we're not thinking about going down, so and don't have to think of that scenario.
Yeah, well, if you think on paper, we've got four strikers. We've got
Yeah,
Wilson, Pike, Bickrue, and Rose, who you'd
yeah,
class as our four strikers. Rose has been the only one that's been anything like available
yeah,
for the most of the season. So you think even if you had two second-hand strikers who would hardly ever play just by not being available or not being chosen, let's say, that would have been more more helpful than having Pike and Wilson, wouldn't it?
yeah. I mean, Rose he was out of team for a little bit, but he's played a lot better when he's had somebody with him, and up there, a big
Definitely,
crew. And
definitely.
the last few games, he's not had anybody
Yeah,
really with him. And we got Barrington, but
yeah.
he's not really a
He's a bit lightweight for me,
strike.
Barrington. He looks skillful, but in those
Yeah,
crucial moments in the last couple of games, he's not really turned to. And I say I don't dislike the kid. He's learning his trade.
no, it's just that he's got his socks down, and it looks like he don't. He's a bit. I don't know. It just looks like he's a bit lazy. I don't think he is, but
No.
I don't know what he is. Is he a striker? Is he a winger? Is he a midfielder? Or...
I don't know.
Don't really know.
He's like I say, he's a work in progress, and hopefully him coming down to play with us is improving him. But I think if he'd have been anything like, he'd have been challenging for a first team spot the whole time, like a big crew. He's been given the number 9 shirt, hasn't he? But so just can't be kept fit, it seems. So availability is one of the aspects of data that they're using. They're still using data. A question was asked about that and whether we'd looked at the data for anybody that's not in contract at the minute, so free agents for the current sort of crisis. And apparently Joe Hutchinson had said that there are some, but a lot of them haven't played for a year and are all fat beeps. so that was the answer to that one.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff at the fans forum. The interesting point I asked him about was in relation to the Walsall game. I'll play it out here so our listeners can hear. Just come back to the Walsall game actually, and going back to some of your words about the formation or what reference points, whatever you say. One of the things I noticed about the game last Saturday was Walsall frightened to death of us, and I think what's come about over the last few weeks with the flexibility of how we play. Yeah. That's what came across to me in that, and something interesting you said after the game, and it relates to what you just said about giving the players freedom and not giving them a rollicking if it don't come off, because that's what we get out of our seats for, isn't it? Is that moment of somebody having the confidence to go for it. If it don't come off, it don't come off. And there's plenty of players that play for Grimsby throughout the years that we've said didn't score many goals, but bloody hell, he put a shift in, or he tried this, or he tried that, and had me out of sleep.
Yeah, I think if there's one exclusive tonight from you guys that turn up, I've only ever shouted at the players this season once. Genuinely shouted at them once.
Come on, tell us.
Barrow away.
All right.
They didn't work. They didn't run around.
Yeah.
I've only shouted at players if they don't run around, because that's the minimum. All right, and they deserved it, and they expected it. I have to say, they knew. Yeah. They're not stupid. It's not anywhere in my job description to shout at anyone. All right, especially players who I'm trying to help. Gen Zs now don't expect to be shouted at. They've grown up not being shouted at. Quite the opposite. They've been told how good they are all the time and helped. Well, it's no good me getting a young lad from Luton and bawling in his face from an inch, because that's not going to endear him to me or any player. Danny Rose doesn't expect it. He'd be more tolerant to it because he's older. Don't expect it anymore. They don't. They've experienced. The older lads have experienced it. They have. My job is to help them. My job is to help them get better and give them the freedom to express themselves with principles. Now, there's no hard and fast rule. It's like, if you can do this, great. If you can't do this, try this. If you can't do either, okay, go on. So, Walsall, you can ask Ev. I never shouted at Ev. Gave the ball away for the first goal. Why? He was trying to get on the ball. He was trying to do the right thing. That's on me, not him. Could he have spun the ball around the corner first time to Jane Luca? Of course he could. Why? Because their holding midfielder, Ryan Sturt, come and got him. And he didn't recognise. Could Denver have played it there before Sturt come? Maybe. So there's all them nuances to it, which I point out to the players. But he was trying to get on the ball. He was trying to do the right thing, right? And the next time he does it, it'll work. And if he keeps doing it, I need a coaching intervention. Don't shout at him. I'm going to make him better.
Yeah.
That's how I work.
No, I was going to say, and this is really important, because this is where culture matters. Right? This has been the most surprising thing for me over the last 3 and 4 years, whatever it is now, is that there isn't a lot of progressive thinking in football leadership. In fact, it was really specific for us that we wanted leaders in the organisation that want to improve people. Applies to Dave, Best, Polly. It's like you build a culture of trust. You assume that people want to work hard and we can get the best talent that we can, and then you try and help them fulfil their potential and express themselves. And that's not unique to football, by the way. It's for any organisation, but it's rare in football. So, when did anyone ever get better by being shouted at? It just doesn't work anymore. It just
It's another USP for the club, isn't it, as well, for getting people to come?
It's massive. Like one of the qualities when we looked for a new head coach was who's the coach that most improves players. It's obvious, right?
Steve
Does it in a sense that Steve. it might not come as a surprise. Another exclusive for you. Steve wasn't on the list. Didn't make any list that we were looking at. But it's so obvious to us, right?
Yeah.
You want to hire talent that really wants to improve, and you have people that want to improve and set an environment where people are allowed to make mistakes because we're all trying to get better.
I think on that basis, most of us can see that. I think please remember from me at least that for one or two idiots that shout at you, there's a load of others that are right behind you. So take account of that when that's happening, because that's certainly. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
And as you can hear, David said that he's happy about the players lot living together, which is interesting. There's only about 4 that don't live in the town. There's 12 of them live together up on the front of Cleethorpes in homes rented to them by the club, and they're very nice apparently. And one of the key things that they like about it is living together. They love it apparently. And
there's 12 living together.
Yeah, well, in 3 houses, I think it is.
In 3, I know. Yeah, I know where they are. It's around the corner with me.
They're all about in a sort of community, and the other 4 that have got wives, girlfriends, live in town, go off and do together stuff together as couples apparently. So, there's a lot of togetherness around that team, and you can see that after last week's the way Danny Rose spoke about the team was quite telling and quite positive, wasn't it?
That interview with Danny Rose was brilliant. Yeah, he was really he's a real down to earth guy. And he just really loves the club. And he's captain. He's found a home here.
Yeah.
And he's scoring. He's hoping to get his biggest tally of goals for this that he's ever had. And I because I know previous teams have had players coming from all over, haven't we? Living away and not travelling with the team and to games or meeting them there. And that seems to be
which can cause a problem, can it? As we heard about the Doncaster player yesterday who turned up at the ground on his own before the rest of the team, and because he looks about 12, they wouldn't let him in.
Yeah, just the steward said, "No, you can't come in. If you're ball boy, you're going through there." And he said, "No, I'm playing." He went, "No, you can't. You're not old enough." I don't know what he did. He got in eventually.
He played, yeah.
No, I'm playing. I am playing. Check the team sheet.
So the media girl who was looking after the evening was saying when she speaks to the guys, a lot of them they talk about one of the real big positives about being at town is where they are and the fact that they're all together. So that's a real positive.
Got a nice sea view.
Yeah.
So.
Jamestown Analytics came up again, and we can base criteria on what we're after. So we talked about availability just now, or whatever we suggest. So there was talk of what about further afield again? Internationals and untapped markets. David was saying that we can only have 2 in League 2, and we've got them at the minute. But if Jason plays, at the moment it's Jason because he's been here longest. If he plays more than so many minutes in a rolling 12 months, you can convert his work permit into sort of like a homegrown assimilated player sort of thing. And then you can have another one. So he said, Jason's not far off that now, and whether he'll hit that criteria by the end of the season would determine whether we're able to do that in the summer, or not. So it's interesting. That's a long-term contract with Jamestown. And it won't be affected by the fact that if we were to go up, that it would clash with any other clubs that you deal with. The contract is the contract, so that's interesting. And on the Gazer deal, he said we don't like to talk about stuff too early because thing that people go and interview them. And he said,
Right.
and he said that interview very, very nearly undid 8 months of work on getting Gazer through the door. He said we managed to rescue it, and that's why he was so cross with Matt Dean.
Oh,
he really
all
was.
right.
It's a very nearly ruined 8 months of work. Is the note I've got here from the transcript that I picked up.
How did it ruin? How would it ruin the
Well, it
work?
alerts others, doesn't it? And I think Oxford was sniffing about, and other discussions. It might well have had the agent chirping for more, playing people off against more money. So, if there's a sniff that Oxford are going to pay a bit more.
That's right, because David Artell constantly says, "I won't talk about any other. They're not my player. I can't talk about it." Matt Dean doing his job, pushes it.
He won't even talk about injuries now to Humberside.
No,
there was one the other night I was listening to, and he was saying, "Can you tell us?" He says, "We'll see who we've got on Saturday," sort of thing. And he didn't want to give much away to the opposition, and
it's a difficult one, isn't it? It's like you've got to give something to the interviewers, Matt Dean.
But equally, if it enables us to win by Salford not knowing whether we're playing a Bickerel or Rose or both or whatever, then I'm happy. I don't really want to know beforehand if it helps if it helps the cause. So I'm not worried. But yeah, you can understand I'm asking the question, which leads us on to the injury update from nicely from it was actually before the fans forum. It was the interview that I'm talking about. McJanet was a late doubt. Obviously didn't make the squad yesterday, so he shouldn't be too much longer. Jason Santhorsson was a question mark because he went off with a knock on Tuesday night. He played but looked jaded, so whether he was a bit knackered, a bit carrying a knock, remains to be seen. And George McEachran, that's McEachran, was building.
Georgie boy
was building back.
McEachran.
Don't do it, Steve. Don't do it. So George is building back after his illness, but he played and played reasonably well, I thought, yesterday.
Yeah.
One of the few players able to win the ball from time to time after he was unwell. Lewis Cass is 2 to 4 weeks. But as we talked about yesterday at half-time, Steve, the cut-off for an injury being season-ending is coming rapidly to 2 to 4 weeks isn't far off being a season-ending injury, is it?
No, that's what they got. Where are we now? Middle of April, so 6 weeks is end of the season, isn't it? So that's it. Yeah, it's flying by.
Yeah, and Artel commented about the abuse that he received on Tuesday. He says one or two people won't detract, and he'll always be doing his best regardless. And they have a belief in what they're doing, and that's the aim. And the only thing about that is, a couple of home defeats will hopefully not knock that belief too much, and we can get that fired up for next week against Newport.
Yes, Newport. What did they do yesterday?
Did they win 3 or 4-0 against Harrogate?
Yeah, but beat Harrogate 3-0, didn't they?
3-0, which is a bit of a turnaround for them because I think they lost the last home game 4-0 or something, didn't
they? Yeah, they're a bit up and down sort of team, aren't
they? Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see which Newport team turn up. Last year we beat them 1-0 at home, and if I remember rightly, it was a game like they were on the beach. They weren't really up for it, and Rosie scored that great goal, didn't he? Where he dived in and nicked the ball away.
That's right. I see. What's the names in their midfield now? Just going Harrogate, who Newport beat.
Yeah.
Ben Fox and Bryn Morris.
All right, Bryn Morris playing for Harrogate.
He's I heard it on the highlight program. He's gone from Newport. He was at Newport. He played against his old team.
Yeah.
So
that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
He went to Harrogate because he wants to be near his family.
All right, I was going to say he doesn't stay anywhere very long, does he? So yeah, Bryn Morris and Ben Fox playing together at Harrogate. I hadn't picked up on Bryn Morris moving, but like I say, he doesn't stay very long anywhere particularly. But anyway, we'll maybe see him before the end of the season when we play them away. I think that pretty much wraps up there's plenty to ram in this week on the football side and the club side with the fans forum. So we'll wrap up and pick up our guest, who is Thomas Turgoose. So I'm looking forward to speaking to him, Steve. So we'll have a short interlude, and we'll come back after the interlude with Thomas and talk about his love of town.
Had a good day at school? Sean, what's wrong, love?
I've been picked on 3 times today. All because of my trousers.
What's wrong with your trousers?
Look at the size of them.
Hey!
Talking to me?
Woodstock's that way, pal.
You're back.
You're going to take me to him. Don't fancy me chances with a guy brandishing a fucking crowbar dressed like a low-budget Power Ranger.
Together with the camera. What have you been doing today, Tommy boy? What's your name anyway? What's your full name?
Turgoose.
Thomas?
Turgoose.
Turgoose. How do you spell your...
T-U-R.
Yeah.
P-O-O-S-E.
Where's that from?
Welcome back. We've got Thomas Turgoose. Tommo, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, very formal. Thanks, mate.
It's
no
Sunday.
worries.
We're recording this on
It's
Sunday.
Sunday.
We're not at Sunday school, so it's nice to welcome Tommo.
No, I'm glad to be here, mate.
Yeah, we've been arranging it a while, but now you're here, which is great. And so you've made some great strides in your career early on, getting the role as Sean Fields in This Is England. Got you lots of exposure, and every time I've seen you speak about where you're from and the football club, you seem really proud. Tell us a bit about how that came about and how that exposure leads you to talk about your pride in the area.
It kind of all started for me when I was 13. I was a very sort of misunderstood kid. Moved around a lot, all over. I lived on the Nunny, the Grange, the Wybers, and then we kind of settled down on East Mast and Guildford Street when I was 13, and I never really went to school, and I got put into I was always in like the social services system and things like that, and eventually I got put into the Space Project, which is part of the Shall Youth Club on Granny Park. And it was basically just a place for kids to go to kind of learn life skills and sort of be around other like-minded kids who were kind of just a little bit misunderstood. And, it was a place that I just fitted into straight away when I was a kid. And the workers who are still good friends of mine now, like Michaela and Becky and Debbie and all of the people that work there are kind of, the help that they've given people and the work that they've done for the kids is like, I don't even think they realise what they've done for the kids. So, yeah, but it's a good thing that they're so humble, but also it's like without them, because I always say, because people always talk about the success that I've had coming from the Space Project, and it's like when I speak to the workers now, there's so many other people that have gone and done so well. You've got people who've got their own businesses around the town, in bakery, or they're doing they've got salons, and there's people who've gone there who've also been really successful in their field as well. So it's kind of, I always feel like it's important to highlight that, because it's not fair that it's just me that's always spoken about. So
it builds confidence, doesn't it, performing? And anybody going into that sort of space as a kid, it builds confidence. And my daughters have been in performing arts, mainly musical sort of theatre and acting on stage, and the confidence they've got from it is brilliant. And as you say, it's not just people who end up to go do acting; it's people who end up.
Well, nobody does acting from there. No, I'm the only. It was never an acting school or drama school or anything like that. It was like it was literally it's a youth centre, really. It's where kids go to just kind of
to be themselves.
To just go and express themselves and just kind of vent a little bit of anger or emotions. And the workers there that I was talking about, they're kind of, it's almost like it's like a therapy for kids, I think. Which is so important, which is why the fact that they're all closing up and down the country is beyond me. But it's that's a whole different debate anyway. But yeah, so yeah, I always think it's important to highlight the fact that there's a lot of successful people come from out of those places. But yeah, so I was there one day, and they said there's these guys from London, and they're auditioning people for a film, and I was like, what do you mean? Like, I thought there was a big fight going on or something, because there was loads of people there. So I went.
Is that why you were there? Be honest.
Yeah, I was a fight when I was a kid. Not anymore though. But yeah, so they was like, "Do you want to audition for this film?" And I was like, "Not really." Like, they're not, because I'm just Tommo from the East Marsh. Like, these kind of opportunities don't come to kids like me, and because I think if you get told that you're a little shit so many times, eventually you do start to believe it. So that was always my mindset when I was a kid. I was like, well, if I get told I'm a little shit, I'll act like a little shit, and I was, I was a bit of a tearaway when I was a kid, well, very misunderstood, and yeah. So they said, "Do you want to audition for this film?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it if you give me a $5." And they was like, "Yeah, well, that's cheeky," but they kind of really admired the cheekiness in me. But as I always say before, I was always kind of like, I was always out to make money when I was a kid. I was always out to try and anything I could do to make money. I always remember I grew up in pubs a lot with my mum, and whenever there'd be blokes, my mum was single, so whenever there'd be blokes talking to my mum, I'd always kind of like, I'd hassle them until I'd turn around and I'd say, "Oh, give me £2 and I'll leave you alone for an hour." So I was like essentially pimping my mum out when I was a kid from a young age. But I was always, I was always I was always out to make money. That's what it was, and I guess I still am now. But yeah, and then I did the auditions, and exactly. Did the auditions, and then they offered me the part, and then from then on, it just kind of like changed my life. And I've been lucky enough to spend a lot of time traveling around the world, but nothing feels quite like when you come home. Do you know what I mean? It sounds ridiculous when you say coming down at M180 and you get that smell of cold water, and the factories, and you just you just see all tires on your left. That never changes. From traveling around the world for the last 20 odd years, whatever. Coming back, it's always, there's something quite special about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and
seeing the floodlights, and
the people are special as well. I think we're quite a salt of the earth people. I mean, most of the people I know are down to earth. Will talk to anyone, and that makes for a great town if we allow it to be, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that people just think we're all really proud Grimbarians. There's a lot of history in the town, and with the fishermen, and I just think I just think, especially nowadays as well. I don't know what you guys think, but the older that I've got, ever since, especially since becoming a dad, and I don't know, it just seems like there's something. I think there's something quite nice that now happening around the town where people are finally accepting where we're from and being proud of it, and it's. I think I think that people's perception on Grimsby, especially the people that live in Grimsby, people. It's changing now. I think people are seeing it for what it is, and people are really proud of it, which is good.
Yeah, and talking it up is an important part of that, because as you said earlier, when you're a little shit or whatever, if you told you're a little shit long enough, you'll just become a little shit or continue to be a little shit. If you sort of talk about Grimsby as a shithole or whatever, it'll always be known as a shithole, won't it? And there's so much to love about the area, as we mentioned earlier when we were talking off camera about Cleethorpes. There's a lot to love about it, and looking after it's
beautiful,
an important part of that.
Dave, I live in Cleethorpes. I've lived here 20 odd years now, and me and my wife go out walking. We do this biking. We just go, what a lovely place to live.
We're so lucky.
It was so proud of COVID.
It was only
during COVID. It was unbelievable. The beach, and we had all that.
It was only during COVID I actually we started to appreciate it more, because you kind of like, hey, you remember you used to think, oh God, we can drive a couple of hours and we're in the peaks and you can go for a walk or whatever, but yeah, man, like during COVID when you weren't allowed to travel, you just go walking down the beach or bike riding, like you just said. And yeah, man, yeah, it's. I think COVID was such a huge turning point in a lot of people's lives, wasn't it?
Changed a lot of people's view on life.
Actually appreciate what you've got here on your doorstep.
Well, I lived in Warrington for 4 years, and I went to Cleethorpes more in that 4 years while I lived in Warrington than I did when I lived in New Waltham and when I lived in Waltham. Because it's always there, and when you can't go because you're 2.5 hours away, you go, we've got to go down Cleethorpes.
Really
you take it for granted, definitely, and I make every effort to get down there.
Well, that's why we used to live in Scartho, Scaffer. We don't live there.
Scaffer,
and we was always driving to Cleethorpes to go walking or whatever. We're thinking, why don't we move there?
I think Scaffer's really nice though. Like one of my mates has just moved around there, and we eventually we are going to have to move. I mean, we moved into this house years ago, and I'm like, I'm a proper bloke, and I'm a creature of habit, and I'm like, I hate change. It really unsettles me, but it's a tiny little house. We live in a 2 up, 2 down, which we fucking love. And eventually, if we want more kids, we are going to have to move.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I was walking around Scaffold the other day, and I was like, it's so beautiful around here. It's so like, it's got such a little village feel. It's got everything you need. You know, you've got that little shopping area with a spa and a little cafe
We've
there.
got an Aldi on Scaffold Top now as well.
Got an Aldi on Scaffold Top. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So
How down to earth do you want to be?
Yeah. Well, I think Scaffold's probably where. I mean, I live right near Aldi anyway. That's like, oh, I love the place. I swear by it. Fucking love it.
You can have best of both worlds up here. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Scaffold will probably be where I go next. I think I do love it up there.
And your association with Grimsby Town here, when you were young, you were associated with Manchester United before you started going to games because of your brother.
Well, my oldest. Yeah, that's fair to say. My oldest brother, and I still get stick for it now. But so my oldest brother Carl was a Man United fan, still is a Man United fan, and I just got all his hand-me-down T-shirts, and it's kind of, you know what it was? It was because I'd never gone to a Grimsby Town game. A, because we couldn't afford it, and B, I wasn't really into football that much until Cristiano Ronaldo, and Rooney, and I was at that age where I started playing football myself.
You're making us
and
feel
it was
old
kind of
now.
And I remember just being blown away by like Rooney and Ronaldo's presence, and just like, so that's kind of, so it wasn't that I was ever a Man United fan. I mean, I never went to any of the games or anything like that, again, because we couldn't afford it, but I was always like, I was just so obsessed with Rooney and Ronaldo, and they just coincidentally at the time played for Man United. So that was the connection between the Man U thing.
Yeah.
So I remember my mum passed away when I was 13, so not long after we'd finished filming This Is England.
Yeah.
And I moved in with my dad, and I unpacked these Man United shirts, and my dad was like, whoa, what the fuck are they? He's like, they're going to have to go, son. And then literally on the first weekend of moving in with my dad, he was like, right, we're going to a town game on Saturday. And the first game was, I think it was Morecambe, and I think we beat them 3-1, I think. If it was 3-1 or 2-1, but we won anyway. And I remember walking out and just being like, oh my God, like that's what football is. Not seeing Rooney and Ronaldo on the telly every now and then, or shouting his name whenever I scored a goal at five-a-side with my mates. It was like, I kind of got a real, I got soaked up in the atmosphere. You know, I remember a bit like the pontoon when I was a kid. Like, it was just like, oh, there's nothing like it. The atmosphere was amazing, and just that roar when we scored a goal. And I remember when I was at that age, it was when we'd won, we'd be singing walking past Mackey's on the way out and stuff. Even now, when we win, the atmosphere's kind of died down a lot, and
it's because of us old farts.
I don't know what it is. Yeah, but I remember, there was so many special memories, and just from then on, like my dad said to me he said, A, I'm glad you love it, but B, don't get used to it, son, because it's not always going to be like that. You're not always going to be walking out.
And how right he was.
And then we got fucking relegated that season. And I was like, oh, what does this mean? And then it was just like, I think we was down in the National League for the first year for about 6 years, but yeah, it was just torture. And then now, obviously, we're doing a lot better now. And I'm like, we're now at the peak of my Grimsby Town supporting years.
Yeah.
So I'm like buzzing, and my dad is still, because obviously he's followed them for the best part of 50 years. So he's seen us in you know, probably like you boys, he's seen us, you know, a lot higher than we are now. So when I'm walking away after beating fucking Bromley, he's like, I'm buzzing. He's like, Bromley, just like, it's like, yeah, he's just the difference in.
Well, it's like, sorry, when I was in non-league, we were playing teams like Tamworth and.
God, I remember going to Kings Lynn away and that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember John McDermott. He say we used to play Birmingham, not Tamworth.
Yeah, exactly.
Big teams, like it was a big company.
Yeah.
Gonna do.
My dad said.
Sorry, go on, mate.
I was just my dad. I'm walking out buzzing about beating Bromley, and my dad's like, I remember going to bloody Leeds away, and Chelsea, and Spurs, and Everton, and all these big clubs. And there's me buzzing about beating fucking Bromley.
Bromley.
No disrespect to Bromley, obviously. Yeah.
Steve and I started watching at the same time. We're similar age, sort of 78, 79. We went up from what is now League Two, Division 4 at the time, in second or third place maybe. And then the following season, we won the Division 3 League 1 title. Now that was our start. Only did we know it was all downhill from there.
Yeah,
and that's the only time we've witnessed a championship team.
Yeah, it's the only time we've witnessed a championship team.
And that's it for you boys. It's like it must be frustrating for you because when you're losing to teams like Salford. That again, no disrespect to Salford, they did what they needed to do yesterday. But when was they formed as a club? I don't know. Before you guys was even watching Town, I suppose.
Yeah.
Kind
yeah.
of like when you see that difference, like you say, you win in the first division, League One, and then we're losing to teams that wasn't even a team. Then it's like the contrast is huge.
That's it. Yeah. We was playing team. People ask me, so I'm off to the match tomorrow. Oh, we're playing Morecambe, and they'll go Morecambe, or Bromley, or teams
we all have to remember it could be worse. We could be playing Kers and Ashton and people like that. Like
it could be worse.
Scunnier.
It could be.
It could be. Peterborough Leisure Centre.
They first time in ages I looked at their league, and they're top again now, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
I would like them to come up. I would like.
Well, there's no rivalry without a team, is there? So you need them. You need them there for the rivalry. But yeah,
I hope that. I think that they've suffered enough now. They've suffered enough now. Come on, get back to it. And then we can have some good away days. I used to love going to. God, I can't remember what the ground. Yeah, I can't remember.
Blandford Park, the Attis Arena, whatever it's called these days.
Yeah, the Attis Arena. I remember Kevin Van Veen scoring past us in the last minute here.
The ginger pig.
Yeah, just coming and stood in front of the upper like that with his hands out, and I was like, I remember thinking that shithousery, but I fucking love it. I love stuff like that.
That's why we all love Danny Rose, isn't it? He's
just stuff like that. We need that.
Shithouser in chief.
Scunny. Yeah, exactly. And with Scunny being down there and Lincoln being up there, it's kind of like, it's. I know we've got Donny and Notts County and whatnot, but it's not the same, is it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, we came out of Donny a couple of years ago. George Lloyd scored the winner in the last minute.
Last minute, I was there.
And we were sat in the car outside afterwards. I was supposed to be going on Humberside, but the airtime was taken up with Scunny going down, and we were joking. We were joking to each other.
Day, was it?
Yeah, we never got on the air because they were too busy talking about that. And we were laughing to each other, saying it's a good league. That it's easy if you can get out at first go like we did. And so obviously Scunny had done the same, but the other way.
I agree with Tom. Just let them come back up now, and then
you've had your fun now, boys. Come back up. You know what I mean? Yeah. I remember that Donny game because I think we'd previously the previous Saturday we'd lost to Hartlepool 4-1.
Yeah.
Which at that point I thought was the best fans that we'd seen at London Park for years.
They were good, weren't they?
They was class. Yeah, I remember them beating us 4-1, and I remember my dad walking up to me, and he turned around and he said, "Oh, fuck them on the pitch, and fuck Donny, I'm not going." And anyway, he gave his ticket away and never came. I remember ringing him at the end of the game, and it was bouncing, and he was fuming.
Well, I got a great clip of that goal live during the footage, and you can just see Steve's big face in the screen. It's in our credits at the start.
Oh, is it? I'll have a look
when we've released it, have a look.
I got big face.
Well, no, you were close up. Tommo will know all about this.
Yeah, what a day that was.
Is it tight close up, Tommo? Is it what do you call it when your face is big on the screen?
It'll be a close up, yeah.
Yeah. So
too close.
Too close for our audience, but yeah. So what would you say your highlights are as a Town fan? What was your most memorable game apart from your first, which is always special?
Yeah, it was special. The highlights: losing 5-0 at Brighton, which sounds absolutely fucking ridiculous. But I was on holiday for the Southampton game, and I was gutted. It was in Rome with my family, with my wife and my little boy. And
don't tell your missus you were gutted to be on holiday with them.
No, she knew because I was gonna. She knew because I was gonna fly home for it. I said I might fly back, watch the game, and fly back to Rome. And she was like, "If you do that, don't bother flying back." So I was like,
okay.
"All right, whatever." But I did say, "Look, baby," I said, I'm obviously going to watch the game. So we managed to find a little Irish bar. And lo and behold, I wasn't the only Town fans in there. There was a few Town fans in there.
Yeah, everywhere.
And then the draw got drew that we was going to be playing Brighton away. And we was away again. We was away for one of our mates' birthday in Amsterdam. And I said to Charlotte, I went, "There's no way." I said, "I'm not missing both of these games." Like Southampton, after seeing all the videos and all the pictures and all the stories about how good it was, I said to Charlotte, I went, "I'll come to Amsterdam, but I'm not staying for the weekend." I said, "I'm flying home on the Saturday night, so I'm back to Brighton." So I flew to was it Stansted or whatever, and then went in and then drove down to Brighton. And yeah, just that I was absolutely knackered. I had a long weekend, but they're just the atmosphere at the Amex was just like, having lost 5-0, I remember the full time whistle had gone, and they kept us in the stadium for a little bit after, and it was just like, it's like nothing I've ever known in my life. Even having lost 5-0, imagine if we'd have won. But that was special.
I've got goosebumps talking about that now, because I went down and stayed with a school friend of mine who I hadn't seen for 35 years. And her husband does the Brighton podcast. They've got like a radio program that also doubles up as a podcast. And he sort of showed me where to go and everything. And because Mr. Risley there failed to get me a ticket because I was on holiday. I ended up getting
it's always someone else's fault, isn't it?
£200 hospitality ticket. I was like you. I was not going.
I haven't paid you for that yet.
So I went in the hospitality ticket, but never have I experienced a bouncing away end after being thumped 5-0.
Because you would have been on the side then, was you watching it?
Yeah.
From so you could.
No, I was behind the goal, just to the left of the goal, about 10 rows back.
Right, okay. So you paid £200 for a ticket that's the same as ours?
Yeah, but it was free food and drink beforehand. Free.
Oh, right. Okay.
As much as you could eat for £200.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not free, mate.
It's not free.
Yeah,
no.
but like you said, it was so special, wasn't it? That whole. And do you know what was so beautiful as well is the Brighton fans being so good with us. It was like
the Brighton fans were amazed as well. They were blown away.
I remember. Yeah, I think they were saying that even like Premier League clubs don't sort of support like that. But I mean, there's the obvious ones like Notts County away in the playoffs and Wrexham.
Yeah.
And again, like credit to the Wrexham fans for what they did for us after the playoffs as well. Was like,
that
was amazing. It was incredible what they did. And we had a drink after, and we was in the Turf before, which is a home pub, because my dad's got friends who are Wrexham fans anyway. And I was kind of a bit like, are we going to be all right in here? We was absolutely sound. So credit to the Wrexham fans. They was always really good. But yeah, that playoff week was just like again, and the game at West Ham was amazing. There's just so many. There's so many to go at of what great memories.
And that's in a time that's been the lull in town's career, isn't it? You know, we're such an up and down club that there's always something going on. Steve's dad went with us to Wrexham, and he's was he 86 at the time?
Was that 2 years ago, isn't it? So it was 86. Yeah,
86. So we waited for everybody to pile out, and we then sort of helped him down the stairs. And then the players were coming out onto the bus. But the number of Wrexham fans that came up to us and shook our hands and that was unbelievable.
That's the game, wasn't
it?
Yeah. Totally said, you deserved that. You played fantastic game. Well done. Good luck.
What a bonkers match. Was you knackered after that game, Tom?
I honestly, mate, because I remember the sun was beaming in our faces, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
I remember just like being, up here, down. I remember looking to my mate, Cal, at the time and just being like, what's the fucking score? I don't even know what's happening. I think it was like
the one game that needed a scoreboard, and it was knackered.
3-4, yeah, it was like 3-4 and then 4-all, and it was just like. But you know what? That clip of Waterfall, you know when he scores the header and he's running, he's going just the passion.
He's pointing towards what's his name? What's their Mullins?
Mullins, yeah.
Saying you're diving it, and then he ran out of steam.
You forget he'd played for them, hadn't he, as well, Waterfall? He'd played
he played for
9 games for them. Yeah, which was interesting. We had the commentator on from that, Adam Somerton. He came on to talk to us, and he said he's never been so exhausted at the end of a game, such that his mother rang him after the game and said, "Are you all right?"
Oh my God, it was just so special, wasn't it? It's like, yeah. I mean,
that's the first game I've ever taken my top off.
Oh God!
Yeah,
thinking back to, I reckon Wrexham game is probably more of a highlight than it'd be a tough one. But yeah, Wrexham or Brighton away for me. But I mean, my dad's been following town for again 50 odd years, and he said, and I don't know if he's saying it's pissed me off, but he said Southampton was special, mate.
Yeah.
He's like, said.
Well, I was at the Southampton game.
Yeah, it was all right. It was all right.
It was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It was better on telly, Tommo. It was better on telly.
About it,
Ali McCoy said in the commentary, didn't he? He said, if there's ever a stand I want to be in, it's in that stand now. It was banging.
Man. Yeah, and that's kind of like, because I mean, I had such a good time in Rome with my family, who I obviously love dearly, but
Your
Well,
mind,
I think I'd rather
your
have been in
mind's elsewhere.
Southampton. Yeah, she's not in now, so I can say it. But yeah, I remember just being in the pub, just like, fucking get in. Oh,
Does your wife
yeah.
not like football then?
She don't mind it. She's one of them. She'll get involved in the she'll get involved in like the World Cups, and I mean, she's always like, she knows when I'm at the town game. She'll know. I mean, I'm not going to come home in a foul mood around my family because of a football game. I mean, but she knows that I'm going to come home buzzing if Town have won. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's one of them that
So that's
she'll
why she
check the
wants Town to
results.
win.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a happy guy anyway, but yeah, she always knows that I'm that little bit extra happy when Town are winning. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it is,
she,
isn't it? Yeah.
she used to come to the games a lot with me, but yeah, I mean, yeah, she obviously with a little one now, which he's 4 in August, so I'm hoping the friendlies next season I might take him to a couple of them and get him into them and see how he's feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, I took him when he was a baby, but it was I think he was 1. It was when or maybe he was 2. It was when we played Lincoln in the world's longest ever football match. You know, and we had like 4 40-minute halves.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it was
Ridiculous
literally the longest game in Grimsby history. I think it was because it was 4 40-minute halves. So obviously he was a little bit bored at that point, but I think I'm hoping that he gets into it.
Yeah,
I'm hoping
probably
that he
along
buys
with
into
everyone
it.
else. He's probably bored with it.
Yeah.
So you got married in the year before COVID. Then you married Charlotte just before all that. Was it 2019?
Yeah.
So
Like that,
how's married life treating you then? Is all going well?
It's wicked, mate. Yeah, I mean, me and Charlotte have been together for 15 years now, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that, 15 years. So, I mean, marriage was obviously, was a long time coming, but, you know, we moved into our house when we was like 21 and we spent so much time just sort of traveling around, and people always said to us, oh, when you're having kids, we left that pretty late. I say late, it's just a bit later than most of our mates really, but yeah, I mean, we've always loved traveling, and we travel a lot with the little learn, and yeah, so we're just like, it's pretty much like everyone, just Tommo and Charlotte, Charlotte, and our little one now. So yeah, I think we're good, mate. We always have been. We're a good laugh, and
so
yeah, she's good fun. And most importantly, like she's funny. Do you know what I mean? So that's the main thing.
You bounce
and
off
she lets
each
me
other
play
nicely.
golf.
She lets you play golf.
She lets me play golf as much as I want. Yeah.
Happiness is making time for each other's what they want to do. Yeah.
Of course,
priceless. They're priceless if you get a good one.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, she was all out on the lash all day in Sheffield yesterday, and I didn't really fancy that. So you go and do that. I'll go play golf. That's good enough for me.
So before we move off the town front, then sort of any particular town heroes in your career as a town fan?
And the go-to for me is always Dizzer, Craig Disley.
Yeah,
he's like, because he was just a club leader when at my peak of going.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's just there's something so special. Like, you know, when I see that, whenever I see the number 8, me, it's just like whenever I see that number, I'm just like, I've just got so many good memories of Dizzer and what he did and what he did for the club, and yeah, man, I just
yeah, the proper captain and leader, wasn't
proper captain and leader, and it's such a shame for Harry as well. Harry Clifton, like he kind of had that potential. He's a good mate of mine, Harry, and I do get it. I get why he went, and you know, and I hope it works out for him more than anyone, because I know he deserves it and he works his ass off.
I'm just pleased that first minute shot didn't do anything a couple of weeks ago.
First minute shot, but I think probably a small part of him's glad that never went in as well, because I don't think he'd ever live it down.
We're pleased that shot didn't go in, and
yeah. And again, I think he'll be glad that it never went in as well, because I know he still lives around here, and I know how much he loves the club, and I know how much he loves the town, and I bet a small part of him when he hit that, he was thinking, "Fucking
don't go in." Don't go in.
Yeah.
I think was he a bit upset about the town fans booing him? We booed him a bit, didn't we?
It honestly broke his heart. It's like, because and you know what? It's frustrating because, like, he's done so much for the club. Like, not only as a player but as an ambassador. Like, I do as much as the club asks me. I'll always do anything for the club. They know that. But everything I used to turn up to, like whether it be going for like kids academy stuff, Harry was at every single one of them. And it's like people never saw that a lot. You know what I mean? And no, the fans don't see that.
There's a bit of it that's panto. There's a bit of it that's panto as well, though, isn't there? Don't you think?
Yeah, it is a little bit, but I know there was a few like quite personal things that were being said.
There
But
was,
you
and
know
that's
what?
just-
You know what I
that's
mean?
just-
He's got tough skin. He's but you know what? He's happy, and that's all that matters. But I think he for me on a personal level as a friend, that you know, I always, whenever I think about Grimsby Town, Harry would always be in there. Diz for obvious reasons, and I remember when Dizzer had retired and he had his testimonial, and I got a message from Dizzer on. Was it a text? Anyway, he got in touch with me and he was like, "Hiya, Tommo, it's Dizzer," and I was like, "Oh my god, he's messaging me," and he asked me to play in his testimonial.
All right.
And so me and Lloyd Griffith played in his testimonial, and I remember just being like, it was a game that I was never going to miss anyway because I loved him, so I was always going to go as a fan.
Yeah.
But to be in that dressing room with all them players, oh my god, it was so special. Like, I remember just looking around, seeing like John Lewis and Hegarty and all these amazing players, and then it just said Turgoose, and yeah, I just hung up in the dressing room. It was like, that was so special, and I've got the shirt that's ready to be framed when Charlotte lets me build a bar, and I've got like so many special memories. But there's loads of great players, even the ones that kind of like just dipped in and did their bit and left again. You know what I mean? Like I think Holohan as well. I think Holohan's he was a great ambassador for the club. He did a lot. You know what I mean? People who just kind of people who you know that love the club, and like Rose, Danny Rose is quickly becoming a favourite. And again, every time I do something for the club now, Danny's there. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's good to see that people have actually got passion for the club.
Like Pearson, you know, Sean Pearson, he absolutely loves the club, didn't he? When he came and threw himself into the club, and then went to Wrexham, but came back. He came back, and he's here now, and
he came back from the Hollywood Wrexham, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah. Did he leave when it was Hollywood?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm.
Oh wow. Yeah. So I mean, Sean, but also like on another level, he's like Paul Hurst to me. I know he gets a lot of stick, but I know he worked tirelessly for the club, and you know he made some good, he made some bad decisions, but he also got for me as a Gen Z, if you like he's given me the best memories.
Exactly.
The best memories as a Town fan. Yeah. Like he's genuinely the most successful manager that I've ever seen. I know you go back and you look at your Buckleys and stuff like that, but I mean I never saw Buckley, so you know for me, I mean you've got to give Paul Hurst credit, and again, but you know Artel's coming at the right time, and you know he's turned a lot around, and I mean
it's not an easy ship to turn
time.
around, is it? When it was in the state it was in at the end of the last regime, I think Paul Hurst, you know, took it as far as he could. I think he was struggling a bit at the end, and you know they made the change, and I think David Artel's had to win a few people over, and probably hasn't won some people over, but
mate. I mean,
there's always somebody in there that's not happy, as we saw last week.
I know, yeah. Well, I saw that there was someone in the main stand giving him a bit of grief last week on that.
Yeah, and what was at the fans forum on Friday night? We just sort of said to him, you know, be aware that when there's one or two idiots having a go, there's loads of others, not least me, who are right behind you, and you know that was appreciated by him and the people there on the.
Sometimes it's hard to take that on though, because it's a bit like I could read 100 comments that say, "Oh, this is England's great," but then I'll read one that say the main kid was shit, wasn't he? And I'm like, oh, that's the one that for some reason I don't know what it is about us as humans, but we, you know, you can have 100 great compliments, but then that one person, and you kind of a bit like, but you know, like Artel's, he's been doing it long enough, and he knows what he's doing. And same with me, it's you know, but I guess it was. I'm assuming it was an older fan, was it? It was kind of.
We believe so, yeah.
We were talking about that,
yeah. We forget though, don't we, that as fans sometimes we forget that the people, you know, and the more you go and meet David Artel and Jason Stockwood and Andrew Pettit, they're people too, and you know, we were talking about
and good people as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Good people who genuinely care about the club and the fans. So it's like, and it's the first loss in 9 games, man. It honestly blew my mind that was the reaction after that. It was kind of like, and you know what? Like, I don't mind admitting it. We walked. Normally, at the end of every game, we'll stand and applaud the team. I was so frustrated with the Notts County game. I left at the full-time whistle, sort of head down, bolted for the door, just a little bit upset. And I kind of said to myself walking in yesterday, I was like, no matter what the result, we need to stand there and applaud the players, regardless of the result, because the efforts that they've all put in as a club at the
Totally
minute
agree
has
with
just
that.
been like, but I can't. Yeah, I walked out after Notts County in full frustration. I was like, kind of felt a bit shitty really, because no matter what results we get, it's we need to.
We talked about this earlier on. We're all a bit like that at times, though, aren't we? We're all we care that much that sometimes
we always say, like, you see, when that goal went in yesterday, and everybody started leaving, walking out. I'm thinking there's
like
10 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Stick at it. Give the support, and like you say, applaud at the end. I was exactly the same Notts County game. I was absolutely. I'm normally okay, move on, but I was really pissed off with it.
There was something about that Notts County game, wasn't there? It almost felt like a cup final. It was like I was so nervous. I was so nervous, and I think the fans were nervous. That's why the atmosphere was a bit flat. The players were nervous, but also they are fucking knackered, aren't they? Like, you can see that. I think it's having a toll. It's across the whole board. It's happening. Like, people are quick to jump at town, going, "Oh, you're losing to Salford." It's like Bradford lost to Tranmere yesterday. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on, lads.
If there's anything League Two's taught us
bad
this
results
year,
happening.
is anybody can beat anybody, and it's been said.
Anybody
can
beat
again.
Anybody. Yeah, of course. And it's like, it just, form doesn't really matter. I mean, it's like, obviously Colchester and Bradford as well are both in great form, but it doesn't. Anybody can turn up anywhere. It's like,
I think on Tuesday night was because we beat Walsall Saturday, comfortably, and we're top of the league. And we're thinking, right, beat them. We can Notts County. We're going to beat these, and it just didn't happen. And that's that's football, isn't it? That's
my mate who's a Notts County fan came. We was upstairs in the Notts having some food before, and which is belting food, by the way. If you haven't tried it, it's not a plug, but it really is good food.
It is
but I was sat with my mate Callum, who travelled from Nottingham, and he was there, and he was genuinely saying, he was like, I don't want to go to the game. Like, you're going to batter us. Like, you're going to absolutely batter us. And I thought quietly, I was like, yeah, we are. We're going to turn you over here. We're going to give you a bit of a pasting after what you did for us at the start of the season, but. It was no coincidence that when two of our best players in Svan Thorson and McJanet, there's no coincidence that when them two came off and McGoldrick came on, it was like just different game. And when you've got Evan Corey at the back, who I fucking love, by the way, when you've got him at centre half against McGoldrick, like what?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's not a centre half. He's only as tall as I am. It's not like. Yeah, he was never going to end well.
And his finish showed his class, didn't it?
It was what's the name sits in front of us in the pontoon. Sean, he says, McGoldrick, he's finished just before he came on. I'm like, is he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My dad was like, McGoldrick is as old as I am. I was like, fucking hell. But then he came on and just showed. Like, I don't know who it was. Who was it that just bounced off him when he bought that ball down?
I can't remember.
I don't know if it is Ev.
There was two of them went to him. One of them bounced off him.
Yeah, I think Rogers was running back with him, but I can't remember who it was. But he just, it might have been Darragh Baines maybe, but he just bounced off him like he wasn't even there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he did.
And I don't think anybody was expecting him to try and finish it from where he did. He was just outside.
But I think Rogers did as best he could. He was. You've got to split it, haven't you? Because he could have squared it to Jatta, who's obviously another powerhouse. It's like, but I think we managed to contain Jatta pretty well.
Yeah. Well, his goal he scored was really scrappy, wasn't it? At the end,
it was a scrappy goal, wasn't it? But I mean, what about Tyrrell Warren at the minute though? It's class that he's just like, Tyrrell Warren just come out of nowhere and he just. Banging in performance after performance when it's needed. So
again, going back to what you were saying about him being tired, Altal made the point last night that it's no surprise that he's looking the freshest though because he's had the rest in and out.
Yeah,
that's what we would have wanted to do with some of the others, and we haven't been able to, which is why
he came on as Walsall subbed when Cass went off injured. Warren came on, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm happy with that." Because Cass is all right, but he's not. I prefer Warren now to see what I've seen.
Warren's just a little bit like. Don't get me wrong. Going forward, he's not. I don't think he's. But as a defender, like he's just so good in the air. He reads the game well. Do you know what I mean? Svan Thorson at that position for me is class because so comfortable on the ball. But he's prone to making a mistake, which is it's fine. But I just think the whole. But when I'd seen a tweet the other day that someone had said we've got 10 injuries. This was against Notts County. We had 10 injuries and 8 of them would have been in the first team.
Crikey, yeah.
Yeah. So if you think when you think back to all the injuries that we have got with,
Well,
who
that's
have we
it.
got out injured at the minute? Got McJanet, Van Torsen,
Cass.
Davies, Cass,
Wilson,
Wilson, Pike,
Burnham.
Charles,
Burnham.
and then Eastwood as well, but he's
Bickwoo.
back. But I don't. A Bickwoo. Do you know what I mean? It's like all
It's
of
nuts.
it. You know,
Well, we
there's so
noticed
many players that would have been in the
yesterday
squad.
there was no defenders on the bench, was there?
No.
There was no defenders. There was just midfielders, strikers, and that's it. If we got injured, Curry would have had to go into defence somehow.
And fair
That's
play
what I mean. It's like
Henry Brown coming on yesterday for his first.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah, because he was on the bench, wasn't he, for Notts County, and I didn't know who it was. That we was all in the chippy before. It sounds like I just eat chippies all the time. We were saying, "Oh, he was Brown," and yeah, I mean, I'd not heard of him, but it was nice for him to come on yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah,
he's a really good player. Really good player.
Yeah, he got the injury time pretty much, and we've seen him in some of the friendlies at the start of the season, didn't we? And,
so against Cleethorpes, he was fantastic. I thought.
Oh, buzzing! Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully he'll.
Bright.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah,
he's got some good,
it's nice when you see people.
Some decent strikers coming through. You've got
what position does he play, Henry Brown?
I think he's
sort of midfield,
wide midfielder, isn't he?
Wide midfield on the right, played on the right sort of side midfield, didn't he? When
we forgot Cam Gardner as well.
Yeah, Cam Gardner. He's got Grayson Giles coming through, who's 18, just turned 18. He's banging in for fun, although he's injured at the minute because somebody was asking the other night whether he's due to make any sort of breakthrough, and they said, well, he's injured. Which tells a story, doesn't it?
What do we think it is? Is it something to do? Do you think it's just the pitch, or is it I don't know.
They said it's not pitch. It's definitely not the pitch. We suffer far fewer injuries than in the day to going up to Christmas. We suffer fewer injuries than anyone else. But the ones we've
got less injuries than anyone else in the league.
Well, no, but the ones we've got are more serious. So players have been out for longer, so it's impacted us more. But we've had fewer injuries. So the trend is across League Two is injuries are up. Everybody's suffering, but we've suffered more than most.
With long term.
Yeah, with long term.
Is it because of the intensity that we play? I don't know.
I wonder about the intensity.
When we are pressing, we press high, don't we?
Yeah.
We get some grafting. It's probably why Greedy can only last sort of 60, 70 minutes.
We thought Salford might run out of steam yesterday because they came at us like that yesterday. First off,
it just looked like nobody had any steam yesterday. I thought.
Yeah.
It honestly felt like a friendly. I thought that game yesterday. It was just like
we couldn't get near the ball, could we?
I just couldn't get near it. But do you know what? Again, I was really worried about that of Nye, their number 10.
Yes,
I remember we went to obviously I saw you on the way back, Dave, didn't I? About the after the Salford fixture, but I remember him just tearing as a new one, and I remember Tyrrell Warren coming on in that game and absolutely smashing him.
Yeah.
Early doors, as soon as he came on as a sub.
That's what we needed to do yesterday.
I said that to you.
We need to smash that number 10.
Leveler.
But I thought Warren handled him really, really well. He kept him quiet all game, I thought.
Yeah, he did a lot of possession outside of our box, and they looked quite skillful, but they didn't actually get in the box really.
Yeah, they had a couple, didn't they? But other than that,
And Jordan Wright had a couple of great saves, didn't he? That double save he made was good again.
I mean, if Rosie puts that chance in, that sort of like a little finesse in front of the pony,
which is good at.
If he puts that in, that's it's just. I just think we just look leggy. I just think mentally and physically we just look knackered. So
it's a good job there's no midweek game this week.
Manager. I was about to say that. I mean, obviously I'm not a football manager. There's a reason I sit in the bloody stands drinking watered down lager and scratching my nuts. But I think I hope he gives them a pretty easy week this week because they look like they need it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Just nail your diet and sit with your feet up, lads. You know what I mean? Just kind of come out all guns blazing on Saturday because I think is it Newport on Saturday?
Yeah, and we're still not in a bad spot.
We're in a far better spot than anybody expected.
Yeah, and we were talking about this in our earlier stint. The run-in is not kind to some of the teams. So Doncaster have nearly got to play everyone. So they can't both win all those games in that.
No, but then you look at the running for everybody. You look at Notts County. I mean, I've got a 50 quid bet with Callum, who is Notts County fan. He reckoned that Notts County, the first game of the season, he reckoned they'd finish 10 points above us.
Yeah.
So I put 50 quid on it with him, and if they'd won yesterday, it would have been close. But I'm just praying every time we lose. I'm like, I just fucking hope County lost.
But they've got to play a lot of the top teams as well. So
yeah, if you look at their running,
so
and yeah, they're running that. No, they've got. I think they've got Bradford or Donny on last game of the season.
Yeah.
So it's such an interesting. It's an interesting running for us.
Yeah.
Because we've played Wimbledon at home last game of the season for the last 2 years, haven't we?
We played them away. Home last game of the season the year before last, and then home at the first game of the season the following year. So we played them back to back home games, and then last game of the season again this season. Yeah.
But then it's not really meant anything, has it? Really?
No.
But this time it's like it's going to be huge. This one.
No, it could be massive, couldn't it? That last game of the season, which is good.
Like the missus keeps trying to plan things on the 3rd of May, or she said, "Oh, on the 3rd of May, we're going to go stay with our friend Lucy." And I was like, "On the 3rd of May, I'm not going fucking anywhere. I'm going to come back." Yeah, bless her. She's like, whenever she tries to plan things for the weekend, she's always looking at the calendar.
You need to be looking at the calendar. You need to be blanking the calendar out a couple of weeks after that. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what? I booked a
Well,
holiday. I'm going to Portugal on like the 17th of May or something like that, playing golf. But it's over that. I think it's over the. When's the playoff weekend final? The playoff final weekend.
I think it's just before that, if I'm remembering.
Oh, is it?
Not
I
sure.
was trying to look at the calendar, so I was looking at May, and I thought that it would have been the 20. I thought it would have been the 17th, 18th. Is it that weekend, 17th and 18th?
Just looking now.
I think it normally is, isn't it? That weekend.
I fly on the Saturday, but I mean, I won't be
Wembley's
flying anywhere if we get to the
Saturday
final.
the 24th is the playoff final.
Oh, really?
24th and 25th.
Oh, hopefully it's the 25th then, because I'm working on the 24th.
Right.
Yeah, the playoff final is a Monday. It says on my.
All right, it's a Monday.
Monday
is it bank holiday?
Monday the 26th.
It will
of
be.
May.
Yeah, it's Whit Bank Holiday, isn't it?
It's the bank holiday, isn't it?
Spring bank holiday. Oh, so the playoff finals are 26th then.
Yeah.
Oh, buzzing. Oh, that's all right then. I mean, hopefully we don't fucking need them. We get autos, but who knows?
But the point is,
I was hoping autos, but then
even after the negativity the last couple of days, we're still not that far out of it. I think that's the positive.
And do you know what? If we if we don't get playoffs, and we finish 10th, that's exactly after last season.
Yeah,
we all said get the new manager in, get his own regime, get his own players in, finish top half, and then we can build on that.
Yeah.
And but because we've been flirting with the playoffs, everyone's kind of like. Everyone seems to have just quickly forgotten where he was last season. And don't get me wrong, I walked out of Blundell Park fucking raging yesterday. But you just have to remember, where we was. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Exactly. It's just because we're flirted with them playoff places that everyone's just getting a little bit like, yeah. But what are we? 2 points off playoffs.
2 points off the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with a minus goal difference still, but
yeah, we want to be the first team to ever go up with a negative goal difference.
Yeah, that's it.
It'd be nice for Artel to drag Crew out of the playoffs, wouldn't it? That would be nice.
Oh, that would be a slap in the chops, wouldn't
it? It would be. That's what I was thinking the other day. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, we're ninth at the minute, 2 points behind Colchester. We're in 7th now. But obviously,
they won.
Colchester, they won again yesterday. Yeah.
Five wins on the trot.
What they've done? They've lost. They've only lost 1 or 2 in 24 games or something. Like that.
Well, won the last 5, haven't they? Definitely.
Won the last 5, yeah.
They've
won more points than. There's only Birmingham City have won more points than them in the last 6 games, I think they said. So
really?
in all 4 leagues, yeah. So.
But Colchester was flirting with relegation last year with us, weren't they?
Yeah, they were below us.
Yeah.
It's the magic of Cowley, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No denying he's a class manager.
It's not great to watch, though. Apparently, I don't know where.
What the football is it? Not good football?
It's a bit agricultural by all accounts. I don't know. I'm not watching.
Who gives a fuck if you're winning 11 games in a row or something?
That's it. We'll take that, won't we?
A bit like our pitch then.
Yeah.
Like a field.
What's going on with the pitch? We need to. It's easy for us to say again, isn't it?
I've got news for you on the pitch. We
all right.
Covered a little bit earlier. So we spoke about
playing on the Pluggers on Saturday.
Pluggers on Saturday. We moved to the Pluggers. Basically, the ultimate answer is 800 grand to £1 million new pitch. So hybrid
for a complete new pitch.
For complete, that's the answer. But that's not.
That's happening, or is
that's not going to happen. It's not happening right now. It's the aim ultimately. But they're going to do an upgraded maintenance on it this summer, which is better than what they did last year, thankfully. But they don't believe it's anything that they've done to the pitch. It's just generally it's old. It needs replacing.
Didn't it get replaced recently though? There was all that thing.
Well, the surface did.
Got resurfaced. Yeah.
They kind of put new surface, new seeds, new grass. But the top surface, it's the subsurface that needs digging up and taking out. It's all apparently 2 feet down. It's all brick and rubble and all sorts of crap. But it's been like that for 120 years. It's no different.
Yeah.
Under that is clay, so it's always been a bastard to drain. So if in the winter, if it gets wet, it never gets a chance to dry out. And it's, I mean, when we were watching them in the 70s and early 80s, it was a ploughed field at this time of year. We've seen many a game on a lot worse than we're watching now. But by modern standards, it's not great. Now, I had a theory about it, the summer being a bit wetter at the end, so that at the time when it normally would have been growing and knitting together, the top surface, that
it's getting soaked, wasn't it?
It was getting soaked, and it never dried out fully and knitted together before the winter, which hasn't been that bad, but it has been a bit wet. Now, I don't know whether that's right or not. But
I remember Greeny went up for a header yesterday, and he hit it was right under, because I sit in the upper, and you heard him. It was like he fell onto a fucking car park.
Yeah,
honestly, it was like he just hit gravel. I thought,
yeah,
it can't be. And then I know when Stan Sorsen went down, when he made that little zipping run on the left, and he went, and you heard his knees hit the floor. You're just thinking, it's not good. That it's not good for the players.
What's happening over there? They're having an enhanced maintenance over the weekend, and they're hoping that when the Premier League finally do a deal with the EFL, that we'll then be able to do the pitch stuff.
If Adam Richmond wants to pretend he's a Town fan, he can pay for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
get Adam Richmond to pay for it.
Yeah, he can come do a series on the four corners of the ground. Adam eats food from the four corners of the ground.
Yeah. So 800 grand, Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
When you think about it, you think
it's a lot.
But that'd be like
that'd be a full. Take the whole lot out, put a new subsurface in, new top layer, which includes part fibre, part so it's hybrid. So you've got a mesh of synthetic fibres. And
it's what the Premier League ground.
It's called a Deso pitch. That's what they actually want.
Yeah, and is that what Notts County have got? Because I know they're.
I believe so. There's quite a few clubs that have gone. Bromley have got one bizarrely because they got a big grant.
Yeah, I know.
To get them into the league because they wouldn't have been able to come into the league without a proper pitch. So, so that's what's happening. There's this enhanced maintenance, but I think the couple of things they don't want to moan about it too much because they can't do about it much now because it'll have to happen at the end of the season. Those guys,
I do think it's having an effect though. I do think it's having an effect on.
I think you're right.
On the football that we want to play. And, every time the ball gets passed back to the keeper, I panic because I'm like, it could bobble anywhere.
Yeah.
And Jordan Wright's getting a lot of stick for his distribution. And don't get me wrong, it could be better, but I think a lot of it's down to that pitch.
Yeah. He almost has to have a touch, doesn't he? You can't. You almost don't want him to hit it on the, without controlling it.
I agree with that.
Yesterday. Yeah. Go on, sorry, Steve. Go on.
No, Jordan, I like Wright. I think he's a good shot stopper, a good keeper, but his kicking could be better. And just a couple of times yesterday, like you, I'm thinking, oh God, where's he going this time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it.
Do you know? Yesterday there was a point yesterday where we had a free kick in our own half, and Denver Hume stood over it. And then Jordan Wright come running over and said, I'll take it. And I thought, you've got a fucking set-piece wizard who's the highest assistant in the league, and then you give it to someone who famously just sprays it out for throw-ins all the time, and then he put it straight in their keeper's hands. I was like...
I remember that.
I remember that. I remember that. Yeah.
Inside, I'm thinking, oh, fucking hell. All the fans are like fucking goading him, and like, I'm just thinking... And there was another one where he managed to he kicked a few out, and then or when he got man of the match the other week,
that was
and
funny.
all the fans were, all the fans like actively laughing. I was like,
never heard that before.
It was embarrassing.
I was like,
I think that was unfortunate. We talked about that on the episode.
Did you concede like 3 goals or something? It was like it was a bad night at the office, wasn't it?
But it was the one thing that happened was it absolutely spooned one into touch about 10 seconds earlier. And everybody sort of groaned, and then the man of the match was announced, and it was him. And I've never heard such a laugh. And I felt sorry for him. I mean, goalies get
because he heard that. He must have heard
goalies
that.
get a shit time, don't they? One mistake, and it's horrendous.
Imagine that just being.
Yeah, it was.
Imagine that. Just it must be awful for him. Yeah.
Tuesday night against Notts County, he hit about 5 out, I think, and you can just see him. As soon as he hit it, you thought, oh, it's going out, and he just dropped his head. Thought, oh, fuck.
But did a lot of the Lincoln fans say that he's a good shot stopper, but his distribution's not all that?
Yeah, and
I think
it's probably fair. And let's be honest. These guys, if they were world beaters, they wouldn't be here with us, would they?
No, and that's the thing. And my dad's always like, again, because my dad's like, he moans like mad, but he's always like, I always think he always says, oh, yeah, it's good having Denver Hume who's got this, or McJanet said, but there's just no consistency with the team. I'm like, if you've got consistency, they're gone. They're going to go.
Exactly.
Because there's going to be teams like who are going to like Luton and that who will come in for a McAtee, or do you know what I mean? There's nothing you can do. It's like, whilst it's frustrating, it's out of the club's hands.
It's about
when
building, and that's what it's about, building that moving
they've got
beast.
A year like, Hume and McJanet could go League One.
Definitely League One. Yeah.
League. Well, I'd say he could go Championship.
Hume could probably go Championship.
And I don't know. I suppose it's down to the ambitions of the club whether we can say, let's invest, put a bit, like give them the money.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Not saying match the Championship wages, but certainly give them a good pay rise and be like, you're one of our better players.
Yeah.
We want you to stay.
It's interesting.
Tom, you were just saying that how happy Hume is here.
I was just saying, Dave. Yeah, we bumped into. You know when the Notts County game got cancelled in January.
Yeah.
Me and a few of my mates, we went out and we bumped into McJanet was there, Cam Gardner was there, Denver Hume was there in the Swashy. There was a few of them out, and Denver and Cam was both just saying how much they love the club. And but I mean, I suppose they have to say that whether they mean it or not. But I think from the performances that they give and the passion that they give, I think they do genuinely love the club. It's just as a 24-year-old lad, if you're getting offered, I don't know what kind of money they're on, but if you're getting offered double the money that are getting paid, you're gonna take it, aren't you? You know what I mean?
I think so. Yeah.
And you forget that they're working guys like everyone else. You know, whether they, you know, if we were offered double. I mean, if you were offered double the fee you're getting for doing this, I mean, you could do it, wouldn't you?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, double my fee for this, and we could pay for the pitch. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're on, whether it's a couple of grand a week or whatever. But if you say to a 24-year-old, "Oh, you're going to be earning $5,000 instead of $2,000," like, what 24-year-old's not going to take that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Ben
and
Fox,
it's a short career.
Ben Fox could have stayed, but they weren't offering him as much as somebody else. I mean, we went to Northampton, didn't he? And they were paying him more. But I bumped into him at Brighton after the Brighton game, and I had a chat with him. He was there as a mate of the lads who got there, and he loved his time at Town, you know. But I say at the end of the day, they're making a living like everyone else.
That's what I mean. It's a short career, isn't it? You've just kind of got to look. But now Ben Fox is down at Harrogate, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's at Harrogate now. Yeah.
We were just talking. He's been joined by Bryn Morris as well.
Is Bryn Morris there as well, is he?
Yeah,
he's just signed from.
Didn't he go to like Newport?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's who he went back to. He's gone to Harrogate to be near his family, apparently.
Right, and we've got Harrogate in a couple of weeks, haven't we?
Yeah, away.
Yeah.
Fucking and then lump your money on them two scoring then, or is Foxy's injured again? Is he?
No, he's played yesterday.
Is he?
No crutches inside.
When I saw him at Brighton, he was on crutches. And nobody near him. He jumped up for a header, landed, and his knee went. Yeah, it was one of them.
Oh, really?
Things. Interestingly, we were talking about not having the ability to rest players and what have you. You've got David Artell saying the other day, one of the things they're putting into the data this time is availability. So players that are able to play more, they're going to be looking at as one of the bits of data.
What do you mean? So people who are
people who aren't like Donovan Wilson and Raquel Pike, who are only available 50% of the time. So,
unfortunately for Chaz as well, like I'm absolutely gutted for him because again, he's a man. I've known him for years, and it's like I know how much, and everyone else knows how much he wants it, and how work and the work that he puts in, and he's fucking gutted about his injury. Like, it's it's just like. He's been trying that move back to Grimsby. He was trying to make work for a long time, and eventually it happened for him, and then he got off to such a good start as well, and then all of a sudden it's like.
And one of the problems with him, and he admitted this in an interview once he came out of his injury. There was Notts County away last year when we lost. Did we lose 3-2 or was it 3-2? Yeah,
4-1, wasn't it?
No,
4-1.
season before when he first came back when
3-2.
Glennon got
3-2,
pulled off after 20 minutes and he wasn't very happy.
Oh yeah.
In Hurst's reign. He came back in that game and something went right. He looked like he was running in treacle. And anyway, after that was his first long layoff. And he said afterwards, I was carrying a bit of injury and I should have really stopped before. And I nudged Steve and I said, I told you there was something not right because he's lightning when he's on fire, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just like, I think most exciting, all of the positive things that happened at the start of the season was coming through him. And it's like, such a shame, man, because he's such a talented player. But I think if he was fully fit again, I don't think he'd be down in League Two.
Yeah, no, exactly.
If he was one of them, if he was getting 35 games a season out of him,
yeah,
I don't think he'd be in League Two, and that's why he got the moves to your Lincolns and your Burtons. You know what I mean? It's
no, it's just.
I think when you look at that, and we just mentioned Wilson and Pike, they between them have played less than a season's worth of games in 2 seasons.
Between Wilson, Pike, and Chaz.
No, just the 2 of them. Other ones. I mean, I was excusing Chaz because we know the situation with him, but the other 2. So
I imagine that they're not. I imagine that they're not on. I imagine they're getting paid pretty well as well.
I think Pike got a decent wage. I don't know about Wilson, but they haven't really worked out as well as we would have expected. So
it's a shame, innit? You never know what's going on behind closed doors, and I never want to badmouth anyone.
No.
Not only Pete, just in general as man to man, but also just think, God, that money could be used for so much good.
That's the point. Is we've got 4 striker spots there. If you take Pike, Wilson, Bickwoo, and Rose, and there's only Danny Rose really there, isn't there? Out of them 4.
Yeah, I mean, Bickwoo's just being like, God, I never thought I'd hear myself say this because I was on the fence a little bit with Bickwoo because he never really provided much for me. But then I never have thought I'd hear myself say it. Like, we miss him so much. He's become such a good player with the 2 up top. I think my opinion on him was when he was up top on his own, and it's the same with Danny Rose. Like yesterday in the second half, it's just like you're winning heads for nothing for nobody. It's like.
But you forget how young he is, Bickwoo. You forget how young he is because he's a big.
What is he? 20?
19, just turning 20 next.
20 19. So he's still developing, isn't he?
But he's improved over since we had him last time.
So
hasn't he?
much.
Yeah.
I mean, was it Tranmere away when he scored that impossible angle goal?
Yeah.
Like since then, he's kind of. But then you put him in that 2 up top role. I think them 2 just complement each other really well.
Yeah.
It's like, but is he? I think he's still out for another 4 or 5 weeks.
It's not far off being season ending, isn't it? I mean, we were talking about this earlier. Anything more than
6 weeks,
anything 2 to 4 weeks is a season-ending injury now, isn't it? Unless we get in the playoffs, you're then bringing players in just off an injury. So interesting.
Yeah, it's just. Do you think they made a mistake bringing him back against Thingy? They brought him on for what was it?
I don't know.
Was it Tranmere?
Yeah, it was Tranmere game, wasn't it? He came on. He was played the
Tranmere
first
game. He came on.
He
came on and then he went off.
Went off at half time, didn't he? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how much sometimes the players have to be protected from themselves. They want to play, don't they? And it's about them being honest as well. So you don't know. And I say we forget the people at times, and it is a challenging thing because we're also saying in our day, us poor old farts, we were watching players who were injected up with cortisone every match just to keep playing, and now crippled in old age. Players are better looked after nowadays and probably don't play through injury to the and probably rightly so to the extent that they used to as well.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but also I want entertaining. Get on with it. No, it is. But like you said, they've got to really protect him from themselves because there's no doubt Chaz would put his boots and shinnies on tomorrow and try and play. But it's like
that was what we know he did the first time when he came back. He was that keen to do a good job.
That's what I mean.
He wasn't quite right, and we knew it. And he's out for 10 weeks the first time, wasn't he? So.
I'd like to see Bickwoo back though. I know.
No.
I mean, again, I don't mind admitting I was one of them that was on the fence a little bit when he got announced to come back, and I was a bit like, I'm a bit underwhelmed. But I'm man enough to admit when I was wrong. He's been class this season, hasn't he?
I don't like the revolving door of young loan players who come and don't do much and then go and they're just like squad fillers. But it's a feature of our level, in it, that we're in that situation.
Yeah, but then you get the odd little gem, don't
Exactly.
you? I mean, like,
yeah.
remember, like, was it Arjun Reiki from Villa? Like, I
Yeah, he
remember
was
him
good.
just being like,
Yeah.
him just being class in that sort of, in that centre mid role.
Yeah, he was class above. He was.
He was brilliant. Yeah, but you get these little gems. You remember, I remember way back when, like, Shalem Logan came from Man City.
Oh yeah.
And he was banging in goals from right back and doing flips up and down the touchlines. Like, remember, just like little gems like that.
Oh yeah, you get some, and then.
But then we don't have to get some dross as well.
Yeah, but so that's the gamble. And sometimes it's not that they're bad players. It's just, the system doesn't work. They don't gel well. They're not got enough time. They don't get the minutes. It's a tough industry.
Like Luca, we got Luca and a big crew. We got them for season loan, haven't we?
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah,
not just coming in for a few months.
Luca's looked good. I mean, exactly. Walsall were terrified of Luca last week.
Yeah, but then, like, again, like yesterday, I'm just thinking, where was that player?
Yeah, exactly.
Where was that guy? Like yesterday, he just struggled with his first touch. He was just like,
yeah.
I get. Look, listen, I'm sitting again. I revert back to that. Me sitting in the stands drinking water down lager, scratching my bollocks. Like, it's a bit like when you watch Love Island, isn't it? And I'm sat there going, nah, I don't fancy it. And then I look at myself and go, I don't for a fucking minute think that they fancy
Never
me.
heard Grimsby Town compared to Love Island.
No, but you know what I'm trying to say? Is like, it's easy for me to sit and say, but
there's levels. There's levels within levels, isn't there?
It's just that consistency, innit? Do you know what I mean? And again, if he was like he was against Walsall every week, he wouldn't be here. So we've just kind of got to we've got to enjoy it whilst it's good and just suck it up when it's not so good. And either way, it's been a class season. Like
cool.
You feel like you're getting your money's worth for your season ticket this year. Do you know what I mean? Because you're getting your wins, and we're in a good position in the league. And and you don't know what's going on with the atmosphere, man. I don't know what they can do. Honestly, I have no idea what's going on.
No, I sometimes wonder whether there's a bunch of older fans who don't want to join in. I mean, yesterday, there was a couple of opportunities where, the crowd could have got up and everybody just sat there, and we sit in the pontoon. So, we're like, where we should be getting behind them. The upper's getting better though. The upper's
that's where I sit in the upper, and it's kind of it gets a little bit like that, gets a bit rowdy, but then it goes. I always like that premature clap fish that we get going. You know what I mean? When they take the corner and they start it really early, and then by the time it takes the corner or the free kick, it's deadly quiet.
Yeah.
But
the ground doesn't lend itself to have atmosphere really. The best place for acoustics is that corner where the away fans go. So that's the loudest bit of the ground, which is a shame. But
it's I just don't know what's going on. Like they're not like, even all the season ticket holders aren't coming now, are they? There's what's the gates? Did we sell 5-7 season tickets or 5-9?
5-2 last year. It's down 500 on the year before, which was 5-7. And there's fluctuations year to year that's going to happen. But one of the things is, bear in mind that's across the backdrop of regularly just selling about 3,000. So there's looking back over a history. 5,200 is a lot of season tickets because the club gets some money.
Of course it is.
I think.
Of course it is.
When we was in the Championship, we were getting crowds of 4,000, weren't we? It's like,
really?
And it's the league below the Premier League, and we were getting. So you're talking 20 years ago, we were getting 4-2, 4-3, 4-4.
And Buckley was playing absolute shit hot football. Brilliant.
And we just didn't appreciate it at the time. But the crowds weren't there.
But one of the things that I think's happened, and I mentioned this the other night at the fan zone, at the fans forum was that after we came up the last time, after the game at West Ham, you needed to buy a season ticket if you wanted to sit where you wanted to sit, and you could afford to miss 6 games with a discount they were offering. So it's worth buying your season ticket whether you turn up or not, even if you're going to miss 6 games. You're just paying the same price as everyone else. And I think to some extent that's happened where people have gone, you know what, I can watch it on Sky. I'm just going to watch it on Sky.
That's the thing, innit? And people are watching it on Sky or the dodgy sticks or whatever, and it's like, it's just
it's frustrating because
I just don't know. I like what the club did with that initiative. I think was it MK Dons at home or whatever.
Yeah,
they've done that where you can go and sit in the Osmond and create. If you want to create an atmosphere, go in there.
Yeah.
But then also, like, because I'm one of them that I do get involved with the singing. Like, I love it. But also, I like sitting in my seat.
Yeah.
it's a real tough one. I like sitting in my seats. I've got a good view of the pitch. So if you put me that fan initiative thing was there, but I never.
Yeah.
And I'm always moaning about the atmosphere, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't go sit behind the goal. A, because I can't see, and B, just because I like my own seats.
Yeah.
So what do you do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think everybody's
That's
in that
it.
sort of situation with the atmosphere. They all. I mean, I'll get up and shout, and I'll shout and sing. I'm in my 50s, but I don't care. I just want to get behind.
We both do, don't
But
we?
I mean, I started one off yesterday in there. I don't know what. I can't remember which one it was.
Oh,
Now.
what a feeling that is! Oh,
When he starts,
You did start one off, yeah.
Yeah, it might have been
getting one going, and
it might have been it might have been for the referee, like a fucking useless, but I can't remember what it was.
It was that one, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
Anyway,
what a feeling that is, though, Dave. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
I remember when I was a kid. I'd probably had a couple of pints or whatever, and I remember giving that. I'll give you a G, and and at the end of it, I felt like God. Because I got the whole pony doing it when I was younger.
Oh, there was a funny one at Bradford.
What a feeling that is.
The funny one at Bradford. There's a lad next to us started off I'll give you a G.
Bradford away.
He did it in the wrong order, and then all his lads.
He got to what? GRIM, and he did the B next. I think
yeah. So he got out.
And they all went.
They all took the piss out of him and started battering him and taking the piss out of him, laughing at him. And I just nudged the kid next to me and I said, fancy letting the dyslexic kid do that? And he went, I'm dyslexic. I went, no, I wasn't having a go at him. I just said it's not the right skill set.
Yeah, there's something special about that, isn't there? Like this, yeah. But I just don't know. I really don't know what the club can do.
Yeah.
But then the away fans are class, aren't they? As well.
Yeah. Well, I think the same is true at most atmospheres. I mean, the Bradford game, for example, they're doing really well. They had 17,000 in when we went. The atmosphere wasn't electric from them, but the away ends. Well, it wasn't much from us that day because we were crap.
There's a lot of home.
It was. I remember
support like
before
that.
the game, though, it was class. Sorry, Steve.
I said I think there's a lot of home supporters like that. Like, the atmosphere is dead. Like Walsall game, Town. You couldn't hear any of it.
Yeah,
all you could hear was Town fans.
Did you go last week, Tommo?
No, I never made it, mate. I sound like I live on holiday, but I was on holiday. I know.
I was film star, Steve. Like film star wages.
Either on holiday or in restaurants.
Yeah. I was. One of my mates runs a travel company, so we managed to blag a little freebie. And we went over to Spain playing golf. So
nice one.
Yeah. But no, it was. My dad was there, but
yeah, we watched on telly separately. We don't live together. Popular room.
God no.
The Town fans on the telly. It was just amazing.
It was constant the whole game. Town fans.
So I think there's something about
my dad said that it was class.
Away fans are noisier, and if you can shut the home fans up, most places can be a bit like that. So I don't think we're on.
Yeah.
But then you've got like Port Vale over Christmas. It was amazing.
Absolutely. Oh my God!
I've got my theory on that one. Haven't I?
In years.
Yeah.
Go on, Steve. What do you think?
Well, we kicked towards the pontoon that day, first half.
Yeah.
And we scored. I can't remember. We scored
early. Hour, 20 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the crowd was just up then. And because you're kicking towards the pontoon, we always, because that's where we sit, and the atmosphere just lifted then. So I don't know.
I think a major turning point for that night for me is Evan Corey put in a real big challenge under the upper, right under where we. He put and straight away he was getting everyone up, and it was like. And I said this in a meeting. I had a meeting with Polly, and we was talking about like the atmosphere and stuff like that. And I said like the players like this. When Ev did that, it was just like fucking that passion.
Yeah,
I could get the players doing that. It was a Port Vale game,
yeah.
And obviously the fact that we played like fucking Juventus that night helps, doesn't it? But it's just.
I think it was at Christmas as well, wasn't it? And it was like I think
everybody's a bit happier. Yeah.
People have had a few beers and it just
no work.
Yeah, but we kicked towards the pontoon that day, and we just the whole place lifted right from the start. So I don't know.
That's an interesting theory. Do we playing against it? No, we was at the Osman yesterday, weren't we? First half.
We tend to.
Do you think that's because it got the sun though and the keeper's eyes? Do they always try and play that, don't they? Because obviously the sun, if you in the Osmond, like you noticed yesterday, Tam when he was going up for his headers, he was trying to block the sun.
Don't think
maybe it's something to do that.
See in the pontoon, we don't see that because it's behind us.
Yeah, I think the sun, the first half, we want to be shooting against it. We want our goalkeeper at the pony.
Yeah.
In the first half, because obviously the sun's up that side, so maybe that's. Yeah. Remember the days when keepers used to wear caps?
Yeah, they were talking about it last week at the Walsall game because of the sun was
joggers.
coming
they did,
down
didn't they?
behind the town fans, wasn't it? And it was into the keeper's face.
Yeah.
He had a cap on, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, didn't he?
did it?
No, he didn't
No,
have
he
a
didn't.
cap.
No,
did
he didn't. No.
No, he didn't. They said what maybe he should wear a cap.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
remember them days that keepers used to do that. Yeah,
he
Jesus.
didn't need a cap for picking the ball out of the net, Stephen. We've
Right.
talked loads about football there, and I really wanted to talk about your career as well, Tommo. You've
Do we have to? Like, well, talking about town, I could do this all day, lads.
I know.
Maybe I should become,
I'm running out of
become a
storage
co-host.
space.
I want to be on this every week with you.
You can. You'd be more than welcome. Come on whenever you want.
Mate, anytime you want me, I'm on.
Yeah, no, it's great. So you had the success of This Is England, and it's your first role, and you're acting with people like Joe and Stephen Graham. What was that like to do? That must have been an incredible.
Yeah, I mean,
way to learn your craft.
Do you know what? Like, it was. I never really appreciated it as much as I would do now, because like when I was a kid, again, because I didn't understand the industry and I didn't understand, and I kind of just took it each day as it came, and I was just like, kind of took it a bit for granted, really. But I mean, the experience that you get from people like that is obviously incredible. But yeah, just I wish I could do it now,
knowing what you know now.
Knowing what I know now and listen more, but then maybe I wouldn't have that innocence and that kind of rawness that I had back then.
But do you think that's why you got the role?
Yeah, 100%, because of how cheeky I was and how raw I was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I think you care more as an adult, as a man. I'm a little bit more now.
Yeah.
I care a little bit more about my craft, and sometimes I think stop giving a fuck, because that's when you do your best work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you're right. And you've gone on to do loads of different sort of films and what have you. Have you got any particular favourites that you were on longest, or the ones you enjoyed most? Is there any real standout moments in your sort of things you've been in? Because you've been in quite a lot of stuff, and you've got.
I mean, every job's different. I mean, there was one of my obvious ones was the tiniest little bit I did in Game of Thrones. I mean, it's not even worth talking about how small the part was. But I remember when they offered me that, and my agent rang me and it was like, "Great news! They've offered you Game of Thrones," and I was like I was fucking ringing Charlotte, like, buy a chopper. We're gonna buy an helicopter. Life's like break out the red pants vibes. You know what I mean? And I said to my agent, I was like, "Oh, they're going to send the rest of the scripts then?" Because at this point, I was reading that the actors were earning $500,000 an episode. I was thinking, fucking buzzing. And I said to my agent, "Oh, they're going to send the rest of the scripts." And my agent was like, "Oh, no, that's it." I was like, "Oh, just one scene." He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, bastard."
But you're still Game of Thrones
cancel
actor.
the helicopter, babe.
Thomas
Yeah,
Turgoose.
but on the same breath, I was watching it at that point, so I think I was on like series 4 or 3 or 4, and you know what it's like when you're watching Game of Thrones. It's a lifestyle for you. So when they flew me to Belfast and I met them all, I met every single person, and I was next to Amelia Clark and she was putting the wig on for Daenerys Target. I was genuinely like a competition winner. I was like, what? How the fuck have I ended up here?
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, again, we was just saying, weren't we, Dave? Like, that was a thing where I knew that my performance, whatever it was, how little it was never going to change my life. So I just enjoyed that. I was just like, the whole experience. I just had
Ed Sheeran, was it?
Was Ed Sheeran? Yeah, he was one of the nicest blokes. So yeah, it's like, the whole experience was brilliant. But then I'm kind of like, the film that's in the cinema at the moment, Mickey 17, which was with Robert Pattinson and Mark Ruffalo. So that again was another experience to work with Batman and Hulk. So that was good. Just every job I do, I kind of, for different reasons, just amazing experiences.
Appreciate it
just
more.
appreciate them and just enjoy them. And I always like, and even still, like, going back to Stevie Graham, he'll always sends me videos of when he's on his big sets and stuff, and he's like, we always say, how the fuck do we end up here? How do we, like, what are we doing in places like this? And I always, when I see Stephen like reminding himself how lucky he is and how humble he is, it kind of it quickly brings me back down. And I think no matter who you are or how much success you've got, it's always important to remember how lucky we are.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really lucky having Stephen as a role model, and it's
he's done some stuff, hasn't he?
I just fucking love it, man. It's like and it's not hard work. I always say that I get paid for my time off. You know, you get paid when you're on a job, but that's the easy. I don't feel like you're earning the money. I never think about money when I'm working. It's only when I'm not working, that's when I'm struggling. Do you know what I mean?
It's a bit of a turnaround from that cheeky little kid going, "I'll do the audition if you give me a £5."
Do the audition for a £5. Yeah, imagine I've got 2 auditions next week. I could be fucking £10 up if I was still charging a £5 an audition. Yeah, that'll pay for 10% of my train fare to London.
so even if you're you got a small role that you really enjoyed in something like Game of Thrones, does that open doors for you? Does that help you network, and do you get to meet people that you wouldn't have otherwise met that you can
I mean, yeah, in terms of like further opportunities, I'm not sure because it was so small. But but what's so good about stuff like that? You have Game of Thrones on your CV, and like Kingsman, and this Mickey 17 thing, like that. Kingsman and Mickey 17 like Hollywood movies.
Yeah.
And when you've got them on your CV, it looks good. And whether people are watching them, like casting directors or producers, they might not watch them, but they'll see that you've been involved in those big productions, so it can do you good. They'll be looking at it and go, "Oh, well, he's experienced on big sets. He knows what he's doing. He's earned his stripes." So yeah, it can always do you good. But I don't know. I don't really. Do you know what? Like I honestly don't think about the industry when I'm not working. I'm like, like I know next week I've got some auditions to do, which are now going to be hard work with my little and not being very well. But yeah, I know next week that I'll be back into sort of film mode and working. But then for the rest of the time, all I really think about is just in town, golf, and family. Really, do you know what I mean? I'm not really.
Well, in that way,
I really don't think about.
You're very much like us, and that's back to how we are as Grimbarians and Meggies, isn't it? But I saw one movie you were in, and I'd never heard of it before actually, but it looked quite an interesting one. I'm definitely going to watch it after seeing the trailer. That looked quite an interesting one to be in was Jackdaw.
Jackdaw, yeah.
You basically got a bloke with a crowbar across your throat, and you're saying, I'm not really in a great position right now to argue.
But that was I only did that. I think I did that about 2 years ago. It's quite a new one. It's with a really exciting director called Jamie Childs. Man. Yeah, that was a good little. It was good fun. The only thing is we shot it in January in Hartlepool, and it was.
I thought it looked a bit grim.
It was freezing, man. Honestly, and a lot of it's about a lot. Of my character spends a lot of time on the back of a motorbike.
I saw that. Yeah.
So we was on the back of a trailer with no helmet on night shoots in January. Like genuinely can't feel my fucking toes at that point. That's one thing I always remember about that job. But yeah, I mean, I love Hartlepool. Anyways, again, it's that sort of like real working class industrial town like Grimsby, and everyone's really welcoming. Everyone's kind of like. Yeah, everyone's like really curious. Like, what the fuck? There's a film crew here. Like, what's going on? So Jack knows it's good fun. It's one of them. It's all right.
It did look like a bit of fun, and you had a role with quite a good range of cast in Swimming with Men.
Yes. Swimming with Men.
There's some names there that you're alongside. Yeah,
I mean, there was so many bit like you grow up watching people like Rob Brydon and obviously the Gavin and Stacey and stuff like that, and like he was a real nice guy. He was really welcoming. You can learn a lot from people like that. And again, I come away like Danny Mays, who's obviously one of Britain's best actors in my opinion. Jim Carter. There was such a range of people and Charlotte Riley, who was obviously married to Tom Hardy, and like Tom Hardy was on set quite a lot. We'd be doing I'd be walking around in my pants doing swimming synchronization stuff, and Tom Hardy's like actual Bane is sat there. Charles Bronson's watching you do swimming routines. But so that was quite daunting, the fact that he was always kicking around. But yeah, man, it's just he's just a normal dude.
It's funny when you see actors. I mean, I didn't bump into him. I didn't know him. He didn't know me. But I walked past Danny Mays in the street in London once. I thought, no, where do I know him from? And it was like a few minutes later when I realised, it's that bloke off the films and movies and that.
Well, Danny's one of them actors that kind of just pops up in everything, isn't he? But he's like, But you know what? The amount of effort and time that he puts into his job, even swimming with men was a bit of fun for us all. Do you know what I mean? We all enjoyed that. No one took it too seriously. We knew what the job was about. The director was great. It was we all had good fun on that. But like the amount of work that Danny puts into his jobs, it's just like, I know he's super talented, and he's genuinely one of the funniest men in the world. Danny, I love him to bits.
Yeah, he seems like
very
a
good.
proper character, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Excellent. So, what's coming up next? Then, is there anything you can tell us, or is it anything going on?
What is coming up next? I've got a film coming out, which I think it'll maybe June, July time. I'm not sure if I can. I mean, it's not a mega exciting job. It's not like, I've got. So there's a film coming out in June, July time, but I'm not sure what I can say about it yet. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like a mega exciting job. It's just a British independent film.
All right.
But
don't get yourself into bother then. We don't want to be the cause of any.
I mean, I don't want to make it fucking build it up to be something it's not. It's not as exciting, but it's the first time playing a lead in a film for a very long time.
Right.
And it's a really different character, a complex character, which I've never, done yet. So, that was a real good job. It was really hard work. So that'll be coming out in June, July, and then I'm supposed to be going to Australia at some point, but I don't know when yet. I'm still waiting to find out dates.
You're going with Lloyd, are you? Lloyd Griffiths?
No, I won't be. No, it'd be
Return to Paradise.
It'd be completely different ends of Australia, I think. Which I'm gutted about because I've known Lloyd for years. He's a real good mate of mine, obviously. So
he's coming on, but I'm having long discussions with trying to get him to tie diaries up as well. But
he's over in Australia at the minute, is he? So it's like
I don't know, top secret.
I think so. Yeah,
nah, couldn't possibly say.
Well, I'm not sure what he's doing, but
I have an idea.
Well, I'm sure he'll come on. He's a good lad.
No, he definitely wants to come on. In fact, I've managed to get hold of both of you and get you to agree. But then getting hold of you sometimes is difficult because obviously you're busy and you're buzzing about. But I also wanted to.
It's bullshit. I'm not busy at all.
Remember that.
I'm the most unbusy man. So mate, honestly, I do mean it. I'll come on and talk about town until the fucking cows come out.
We got JT to put a good word in for us with you as well.
Lord
Thunder. He's a great guy.
I've known JT for years, obviously through the club and stuff, and he's like my missus always says, he's genuinely like the cutest man in the world. I love him to bits. He's so much fun, and I love the fact that he's still bowling around London, fucking watching Bruce Springsteen. And he's just like a teenager still, but he's like.
What I love about him is he doesn't come across like that, but he's a lot more mischievous and young at heart than you realise.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. You
Mrs. Corny jokes in his commentary. He used to come out with some good.
It was nice that he popped up commentating. When did he popped up randomly for?
Donny, was it? Donny away?
It was Donny, because I was on holiday. Fucking hell.
Fucking hell.
I know. I was on holiday, and I was listening to the commentary. I was watching it on the because it was an after 12 kickoff, so we can get it on Mariners TV. Yeah, I was watching it on the iPad in the hotel reception. It was nice to hear JT's voice on that.
Yeah, no, he's a
they were short staffed, wasn't there? I think there was sickness on that.
He referred to him when we spoke to him. He referred to himself as former voice of the Mariners. Says, "No, John, you'll always be voice of the Mariners." And he also said he was gutted in the movie, the Old Town Are We movie, that he didn't get a credit. So,
did he not?
Not on the rolling credits with Ryan Reynolds at the end. So. I said, so what I did was I put him above Ryan in our credits and had him go past.
Yeah, rightfully so. Jack Springs, prick. I hope you're listening.
Jack Springs.
That's blown us getting Jack on anyway. Never mind. We
fuck him. If he's not name dropping JT, fuck him. He don't deserve to be on here.
Exactly. So we put it on in big letters, and I called the episode "Tonda the Movie."
Yeah,
Tonda the movie. I like that.
Yeah.
It's nice that people. It's on is it American Airlines or something? It's onto. I know my mate.
It's on
Dave Gilbert. He sent me a picture of it. It was on the flight over to New York the other week.
Yeah. Not Diddy Dave Gilbert, who used to play for Town.
Not Diddy Dave. He's about 6'5".
It's definitely not the same guy then.
So it's definitely not Dave Gilbert who used to play for us. No.
So.
Yes, that's great. That still the best bit is when is it Ryan Reynolds said, "Fucking McAtee."
McAtee.
Yeah, that was brilliant. That. And
Yeah,
it shows
brilliant,
he
isn't it?
saw the good side of it. They tried to sign him, didn't they? Just before he went to Bolton.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Which was interesting. So I think we've taken up more than enough of your time today, Mr. Turgoose.
Oh, bless you, mate.
Tommo,
Again, like I said, it's an absolute pleasure, lads. I
been a-
really enjoyed it.
been a
It's
blast.
not very often you get to have like a proper in-depth conversation about town, especially on a podcast.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Well,
to-
we're doing it every week. You've got an open invitation, so
Yeah.
we normally do it on a Sunday or a Monday if pressed. We
Yeah.
put it out in the week. We're trying to get them out as early as we can because it's best for everybody to get the most time to view it before the week runs out and we're running into the next game. So you've got an open invitation to come back.
Oh, bless you. Just give me a shout whenever you want me on.
I'm
lads.
not
I'd
sure
love
we
to
can
come on
do
anytime.
3-hour episodes every week, but
No, I don't want to do that.
My wife's at work all day today, so I'm happy.
so he's all right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
no,
I'm going to put the footy on. Who's on this afternoon?
Footy's on later.
It's the Carabao Cup final at Liverpool and Newcastle.
The Carabao Cup, the players is on, innit? The golf as well, so I'll be watching that.
You'll be
So
watching
the
it.
golf, yeah.
There are two
Try and pick some
screens on
tips.
in your.
I think Chelsea's playing now, aren't they?
Chelsea are playing
now, yeah.
Arsenal, yeah.
Well, you'll have to go into your Film Star home cinema that you've got built into the back of your house, and
You would not believe how small my house is.
nice one, mate.
Go for a little swim. Go for a swim in your swimming pool beforehand.
Yeah, my swimming pool being the fucking Freshney.
Honestly, mate, it's been an
Yeah.
absolute pleasure having you on. And like I say, open invite.
likewise,
Anytime you want to come on.
buzzing.
And hopefully
boys.
see you down at BP in the near future.
When you're not on holiday. Or,
Yeah, that's
When
when
I'm
you're
not
not
on
on
holiday.
holiday.
Yeah, but that's the thing, you joke about having a big house and a swimming pool. I live in a tiny 2 up, 2 down, but and that's what we've always done. We've always loved.
Good on you,
I'd
mate.
much rather travel. as opposed to spending money on a big house that
Don't
we don't
blame you,
need.
mate.
So.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
You do you. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
All
right, boys.
So we'll leave it there. Thanks again.
Hello, this is Thomas Turgoose, and you're listening to Three Fish on a Shirt podcast.